SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news, Iona basketball coach Rick Pitino has agreed on a 6-year deal to become the next coach at St. John's. NFL Cowboys likely out of the running for free agent Odell Beckham Jr. after trading for receiver Brandon Cooks. As many as 14 teams recently attended OBJ's workout in Arizona. Teams remain interested, but with Beckham coming back from his second ACL surgery, it might take time to get a contract done, explains ESPN's Dan Graziano.
Right now, there's a difference between his expectations and what teams are willing to offer, but it's only March, right? There's no games for 6 months, so I think he'll get somewhere. It's just a matter of finding the right deal for a guy that missed all of last season and is coming off 2 ACLs. You know, it's not as simple as, oh, it's Odell Beckham, let's get him in the building, even though he might think that.
Dan Graziano on Greeny. NBA, Ja Morant is expected to be on the bench tonight, but the Grizzlies won't have their best player back in the lineup versus the Mavericks. He won't play because of conditioning. Today is the first day that Morant can work with Memphis's coaches and trainers since serving his 8-game suspension for a March 4th gun incident at a Denver club.
A championship team is about each player being a perfect fit. Same with your vehicle. So for parts that fit, head to eBay Motors and look for the green check. Stay in the game with eBay Guaranteed Fit. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusu. And Mr. Toby Tomlin. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Hope you had an awesome weekend. Tigers take 2 out of 3 from the Aggies. A former Tiger, potential new New Orleans Saint. And Gavin Guidry going to be in studio with us, LSU freshman. That's coming up in hour number 3. We're looking forward to that. All right, hope you had a great weekend. Hope you enjoyed St. Patty's Day. Got to ride in the parade on Saturday. First time ever riding in that parade. First time going to the parade in like 20 years. Awesome. Had a great time. I'll tell you all about that as we get on through the show. Usually I think we tend to focus on the one that got away when we recap a baseball weekend instead of all of the things that went really well over the course of a weekend. And for LSU this weekend, boy, there were a lot of things that went really, really well. The disappointing part, of course, is that you allowed a great opportunity to sweep to get away in the 8th inning of Game 3. But what a role reversal from a year ago when Texas A&M came to Baton Rouge. LSU was ranked high, was favored, and A&M came and put it on LSU. And Tigers were really fortunate to escape Game 3 with 1 win. And that's probably about how A&M is feeling right now. I'll remind you before we go into the rest of the weekend. Texas A&M needed a 4-run bottom of the 8th to salvage Game 3 of that series on their home field, where they were thoroughly owned by LSU throughout the weekend. But it is hard to win on the road. It is hard to win on the road in the SEC. It's hard to win in the SEC. It's harder to win on the road. Tennessee got swept on the road. Did you see that this weekend? Ole Miss got swept on the road this weekend. I mean, hard to win on the road in the SEC. Mississippi State. But they may actually stink. We'll talk more about Mississippi State. They may actually not be good at all. We'll talk more about them. But they got swept by Kentucky this weekend. some takeaways from this weekend. Paul Skenes is where we'll probably start every conversation coming off of a weekend, and it's probably going to start to feel and sound redundant. I don't care. He's magnificent. He is everything that he was billed to be and so much more. I had a scout tell me this weekend in advising in this upcoming draft that the Pirates have the number 1 pick and the Nationals have the number 2 pick. And this person who does not work for either of those teams, by the way, told me that one of the conversations with a national scout is they are hoping that Pittsburgh takes Dylan Cruz number 1 because they want Paul Skenes. Because they think he's ready to be a front of the rotation guy today, and they would have him for 6 years. And then you could unload him for a whole bunch of assets because that's what Pittsburgh does. They're not going to pay anybody. But anyway, my point is everyone is taking notice. Paul Skenes is magnificent. He went 6 1/3, no runs, 4 hits, struck at 11, did not walk anyone. It is going to be hellacious for any team in the SEC to beat LSU in game 1 of a series, period. It's like it was when you had Aaron Nola and you gave that dude the ball and you just took a Sharpie and you scribbled a W on your schedule poster because he's that good, and it doesn't matter who the other team has. It's going to be really, really tough. Look, I mean, LSU gets a little bit of a break avoiding Florida and Vanderbilt this year, and you're not going to have to face Sproat, and you're not going to have to face those freak shows that Vanderbilt has, and that's really a benefit to LSU. But man, oh man, Paul Skenes was awesome on Friday and set the tone for the whole weekend. I also loved in game 1 that your stars were stars. Morgan scored 3 runs. Cruz scored 3 runs. White had 3 RBI, including the one that busted it open in the top of the 9th when it was a 4-0 game and LSU was able to get some separation. And, man, Tommy White missed a grand slam by this much, an opposite field grand slam by this much in the 9th inning. Yes, you would have absolutely loved to have seen your starters in game 2 and 3 go deeper into the game, but that didn't happen. Ty Floyd gave up an early lead. You're down 4-0, but then you rallied. And for all the LSU fans that are saying, man, they can't hit left-handed pitching, LSU scored 10 runs on Saturday against lefties. 10 of the 12 runs you scored on Saturday were against left-handed pitching. You've not yet lost to a left-handed pitcher this year. Other teams have good pitchers. Sometimes you're going to struggle a bit, but man, the narratives that have built a little bit among some fans, because I hear it, I see it on Twitter, and I hear it a lot, the text line, I could throw a mountain of evidence to suggest the contrary. For those that might say, man, the bullpen needs work. Do you realize, like, Ackenhausen and Little were really good on Friday? Ackenhausen pitched himself into and out of some trouble, but then Little came in and slammed the door. Jones was awesome on Saturday, obviously. 4 or 5, 7 RBI. What a great weekend for him. And then Garrett Edwards, it bears repeating. Garrett Edwards was so good. Went 3 1/3, allowed just the 1 run. After Floyd had a little bit of a rough start, Edwards came in and steadied the ball game, allowed the offense to get going, and then we obviously saw what happened from there. And then in Game 3, look, it started great for LSU in Game 3. You put up a 4 spot in the first inning, and it felt like you were just going to roll, and it didn't happen. Credit to A&M, tip your hat. The LSU bats kind of went silent. A&M's pitching did a really good job, and kept the game close enough to where it was within striking distance. Thatcher Hurd went 3 1/3. It needed 74 pitches to get through 3 1/3, but the bigger concern on Game 3, 7 walks, you hit 2 batters, you threw 2 wild pitches, you struggled to find the strike zone, which that's been atypical for this team, but it was the case in Game 3. I could look and say, look, Riley Cooper clearly wasn't his best. He came in in a tough jam and got a double play to get out of an inning, and then didn't have it when he went back out. Chase Shores, I thought, was good. Might have left him in there a touch too long, but then you look at Little coming in at the end of the game as well, and you could say, well, man, Little and Cooper both being used for the second time on the weekend. Maybe they just weren't fully recovered and ready to go, give you max effort. So you live, you learn about your team. It's disappointing that you lost that Game 3 lead the way you did, but you went on the road and you took 2 out of 3, and that's a great way to start pacing for the weekend. I know there's a lot of people, or for the season, I know there's a lot of people that are going to ask about Paxton Kling in the leadoff spot. Really struggled. He was 1 of 15 with 9 strikeouts. The 1 of 15 doesn't bother me so much because that happens in baseball. Remember Trey Morgan went 0 for the opening weekend of the season this year, and then the first midweek game he hit for the cycle. So, and now he's hitting 320 or whatever he's hitting. But my point is, like, sometimes you hit the ball really hard right where they are. That happened to Trey Morgan this weekend. I thought A&M did a brilliant job of playing Trey Morgan. I mean, Hunter Haas it seemed like he was shaded exactly in the spot where Trey Morgan was hitting it every single time all weekend. So sometimes you have rough weekends where even if you hit the ball, you don't have much to show for it. The bigger problem for Kling this weekend were the 9 strikeouts. And maybe the leadoff spot is just too much of a burden to bear for him right now at this point of the season. Maybe. So maybe, look, Josh Pearson you got the start in the outfield and was magnificent this weekend. And maybe it's a thing where you put Pearson back at the top of the lineup, a spot where he was very good a year ago. So I'm not saying punt Paxton Kling, send him to the bench or anything. I think he's got to be in your lineup, and I think he's going to have much better weekends than he did this past weekend, obviously. But maybe something Jay Johnson looks at is just bumping him down the lineup a little bit. So all things that they'll have to keep an eye on as they move throughout. But look, you got a great opportunity this weekend. Arkansas, they come in after sweeping their opening weekend series against Auburn. They're in Fayetteville. And so now Arkansas comes to Baton Rouge, and all those roles are reversed. I mean, I think about just the circumstance of Game 3 where LSU the umpire had a tight zone. He was calling it, I felt evenly both ways, but he had a small strike zone. He was calling the game tight. Your pitcher's on the mound. Riley Cooper was struggling to find it, and you've got the bubbles flying and the ball 5 chant, and they're chanting Riley Cooper's name and all that stuff, and he just struggled. And the same thing with Christian Little. Well, when you're at home, all of the emotion of that reverses. Now you got the home crowd on your side. The pressure shifts into the opposite dugout, on the opposite pitching staff, and all that momentum can build against your opponent. So let's see this weekend how it goes with Arkansas coming in and a great opportunity for LSU to take over lead of the West if they're able to win the series against Arkansas in Baton Rouge. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. We'll let you hear from Jay Johnson, who did meet with the media earlier today, recapping the weekend now that they're home and then looking ahead. So we'll get to that coming up next hour. And as we mentioned, LSU freshman Gavin Guidry is going to be with us in studio in hour number 3. All right, it's after further review. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows. Let me knock out our first break of the show. When we come back, we'll switch gears from baseball. We'll talk a little NFL free agency. A former LSU Tiger took an official free agent visit with the New Orleans Saints this past weekend. We'll talk about why that makes so much sense, if in fact it plays out that way. We'll do that when we come back. Glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about our friends over at ProCharge, ProChargeEV.com. It's, of course, Ryan Theriot and their group. Electric vehicles, you see them on the roads everywhere. And whether you're an EV driver or not is kind of irrelevant. If you're a business owner, understand that a lot of your customers are. And so if you have EV chargers at your business, that's an amenity you're providing to your customers to bring them in, or to potentially your employees as well while they work for you. And remember also, with ProCharge, they're local, so they have local installers. They have the inventory here locally. They get them in the ground for you just a couple of days from when you reach out. Think of it this way. It'll also pay for itself in time. There's great tax benefits and everything, but they have tap-to-pay options. So you could offer it as a free amenity to your customers or your employees, or you can turn it into a revenue generator that ProCharge will manage the whole thing. You just get a check every month. Tap-to-pay options. It's ProCharge EV. You need an EV charger? You need ProCharge EV, the local option. ProChargeEV.com.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off new 2022 Jeep Gladiators and $8,000 off new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokees. All new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Saints could be on the verge of signing another former LSU Tiger. Muso's back. Muse, how was the weekend in the land of, the land of your Graceland?
My Graceland?
Yeah,
I don't know if Austin, Texas is my Graceland.
Yeah,
but,
keep Austin weird. Going looking at trash heaps and whatnot. Smoking a lot of weed, right?
No, didn't do any of that.
The trash, what's it called? The Museum of Trash? Museum of Junk? What was it? Remember Terrio wrote a letter to Austin when LSU played there?
I do. I don't. But see, I was actually in Austin for that too on that day, so I didn't hear his letter to Austin.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You never heard it.
I went back.
Oh, it was really good.
Yeah.
That's right. Rivers filled in that day.
Yes. So, man, it was good.
She kept defending all the weirdness of Austin.
Yeah. I mean, I like Austin. I mean, it was fun. That's second time I've been.
Did you go to the Bat Bridge?
No.
Apparently there's a bridge with a lot of bats underneath.
Yeah, didn't do that. No. Didn't do that.
There's a tiny home village.
Yeah, I didn't do that either.
And I remember all this from Terrio's letter that time. That was maybe his best work. That's on the short list.
Yeah, but no, we didn't do any of that. No, really just really just kind of drank and played golf, and it was a really nice time.
What else did you do there in Austin?
I mean, I didn't. Yeah, that's about it. We did a bar crawl.
Yeah,
did a bar crawl for St. Patty's Day. That was fun. That was good.
Sure. What else did you do?
I got to watch the entire LSU baseball game on Saturday. 2:00 first pitch really kind of helped out with that.
Yeah,
that was nice. Yeah,
good.
So that was good.
Hey,
Had some steak.
Paul, you think he's omitting something? Huh?
I definitely think he's leaving something out.
Something out?
I don't think so. No.
Okay,
not that I did.
It's okay, Muse. None of us believe you, but we all know.
You think so?
We're glad you're back, the Muse from Muse's Graceland, Austin, Texas. Glad to have you back, Muse.
Glad to be back.
Oh, well, maybe like the Bob Marley Museum in Jamaica might actually one-up Austin, Texas. Yeah?
And I've never been to Jamaica. I don't know.
But it would.
I'd like to go. I've heard it's beautiful.
It would one-up maybe. You know what I mean?
No. I don't. I mean.
Seth Rogen's house?
No, I've never been there either. He's good, though. He's funny. Funny guy.
Got it.
Funny guy.
I think you know where we're going with that, Muse. Okay. Muse is back. Boy, this would be devastating to all of the Saints hate LSU players crowd, wouldn't it? A year after they signed Tyron and Jarvis, Field Yates tweeting on Saturday, the Saints hosted free agent tight end Foster Moreau on a visit. He's a New Orleans native and played his college ball at LSU. This would actually be magnificent if this happened, so that way maybe the rest of the NFL would stop saying Moreau and call the man by his name, which is Foster Moreau, as we all know. But listen, Foster prepped at Jesuit, went to LSU. We all know the story. Really emerged, became a fantastic player in his time at LSU. On the 2018 team, was drafted by the Raiders, spent a year in Oakland, and then the last three, was there for the transition, was there in Oakland for one season, and then the last 3 seasons in Las Vegas with the Raiders, and notably with Derek Carr. So you could file this under one of the most obvious free agent targets that could possibly exist. So first of all, of course, there's the connection to Derek Carr. So Carr and Moreau were teammates with the Raiders for each of the last 4 years. And when you look at Foster's production, obviously he was on a roster and in a tight end room that included Darren Waller. And Waller is magnificent, but the Raiders just traded Waller to the Giants. And after having 20 receptions as a rookie and 7 receptions in his second season, each of the last 2 years, we've seen Foster Moreau's production as a pass catcher increase. 30 catches in 2021, 33 catches in 2022. So we're not looking at a guy that's going to be a primary receiving tight end target, especially because he was on a team that had Darren Waller. But he is your traditional inline, fixed, attached tight end who can also catch the football. He's the prototypical traditional tight end. And the Saints have always had this guy. I mean, just think about over the last 15 years, if it were Dan Campbell, if it were Michael Ho'omanawanui, if it were Josh Hill. Recently it was Nick Vannett that they brought in from Denver. Like, the Saints have always had this guy as a complement to their pass-catching tight end. Jeremy Shockey, Jimmy Graham, Benjamin Watson, the free agent signings they tried with Kobe Fleener and Jared Cook. They've always had this guy. They've had the guy that can be the attached tight end who can block, who can run block, who can pass block, who can also is versatile enough to go catch the football. That is Foster Moreau. So I like it for those reasons. You just signed Juwan Johnson to a 2-year deal, so you have your pass-catching tight end. And yes, you still have Adam Troutman on the last year of his rookie deal, but I think it's fair to say that Troutman has emerged as a better blocker than he is a pass catcher, as that's never really materialized the way we thought or hoped it would when he was taken in the 3rd round out of Dayton. So if you have an opportunity to bring in Foster Moreau on a deal financially that makes sense, fantastic. Of course, there are the local ties. He's from New Orleans, played at Jesuit, and the Saints have, in the last 2 years, signed Tyron and Jarvis, and now they're looking at Foster Moreau, and there's a lot of reasons why that makes sense. If you have a player that has a history with the city, the organization, some fan attachment, that's a bonus. It's not a necessity or even the primary reason why you should make a signing like this, but it certainly would be a bonus. The other big question, though, is need and affordability, or I should say it another way, options and affordability. So I like to look at Spotrac. You'll know that it's the website that deals with all the contracts for professional sports. And if you look at Moreau and what they project for him, you can go to Spotrac, and there's an option where you can look at a player's market value. And for Moreau, they look at his market value and they project it as a 4-year, $36 million contract, which if he were able to get that, great for him. That's $9 million per year. And if Foster's able to get that, I think we would all be tickled for him and excited and thrilled that he would get that kind of contract. I don't know if that's feasible, if he's going to get that. I don't know if New Orleans will get him that. But what I would say is we know when we look at the Saints' salary cap numbers right now, oddly, they've now sort of flipped with all of the space that they've been able to make available with their restructures. The Saints have about $16 million in cap space. Keep in mind they've still got to sign their eventual draft picks, but they still have money to sign free agents if that option could potentially be there. Do they want to invest that type of money in a tight end when you've already given Juwan Johnson a 2-year extension? I don't know. The Saints will have to make that decision ultimately where they want to prioritize spending. But here's the by the way, here's the page on Spotrac. If you want to pull this up, you can there, Paulie. So here's what they project his calculated market value. $9 million annual average salary. They project Foster with it for a 4-year, $36.1 million contract. Now, are the Saints willing to commit a 4-year deal to Foster Moreau? I have no idea. Maybe not, because they've already invested in Juwan Johnson. But if you want to sign Moreau to a team-friendly type deal that can spread money over future years, you could certainly do that. The other big question is, will Foster Moreau have better options? It's worth noting that, of course, the Raiders just traded Darren Waller to the Giants. And the Raiders are looking at free agent tight ends that would sort of replace Waller in that stretch the field, pass catcher type role. But Foster Moreau could certainly return to Las Vegas. That would be one option for him. He also visited the Saints on Saturday. He visited the Bengals on Friday. So could you potentially see Foster Moreau reunite with Joey B in Cincinnati? No, Hayden Hurst is now in Carolina, so Cincinnati has a need as well. It will come down to basically what every free agent signing comes down to. What is your best option, or what's your best opportunity to play, et cetera, and who's going to invest the most financially in you? The Saints can be competitive. They have a need at this position, and it's a guy that would make a lot of sense for New Orleans at a position of need. Now it really comes down to, is Foster Moreau looking at a better option elsewhere on a team that maybe has a better chance to win, i.e. Cincinnati, and who might be able to spend more money. But one worth watching as a former LSU tight end, Foster Moreau, who is an unrestricted free agent, visited the Saints on Saturday, left without a deal, but we'll see what if anything, may be impending there for Foster Moreau as he's a free agent. All right. I would love it, by the way, if they were able to get that deal done to bring Foster Moreau to New Orleans. I would highly, highly endorse, co-sign that for all the reasons we just talked about. They need that. They need a physical presence at that position, someone who knows Derek Carr. They have a good relationship and synergy as well. If Carr is on board with it, which by all accounts he is, yes, do it if you can make the numbers work. Okay, it's after further review. We're glad you're with us. Brought to you by Mold Zero USA. Got to see my guy Jim Woodworth a couple of times last week over at Mold Zero. And just a really cool product and service that they offer. Mold sucks. I mean, nobody wants to deal with mold. But unfortunately in South Louisiana, where it's wet and humid, not today, it's freezing, but like literally freezing, but we deal with mold here. And usually your remediation options are cutting sheetrock and pulling out, carpet or whatever the case may be. With Mold Zero, you don't have to do that. You're talking about a much more affordable option that's quicker and easier. They come in, they spray their patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. You let it dwell. It kills mold, all the spores, other pathogens as well, including odor. And as soon as the fog dissipates, you can go back in free and clear, mold-free, clean-smelling. It's Mold Zero. servicing really all of South Louisiana. You go to the website, there's a 225 and a 504 number, but they will service all the way down to the Gulf and really all of South Louisiana. So check them out online at mold-0usa.com, mold-zerousa.com. You could read the entire report from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. There's videos explaining it. Really helpful tool there on the website, mold-0usa.com, mold-0usa.com. All right, it's after further review. We're going to go around the SEC. Also, we'll sort of recap the baseball weekend. I know we've talked a lot about, everybody knows by now, I think Tennessee got swept this weekend at Missouri, which was a big surprise. Arkansas swept Auburn. Mississippi State got swept at Kentucky. So some of these weekend series, we know the results, and we'll run through the rest of it, kind of a reset of the weekend from college baseball. In 30 minutes from right now, I know a lot of you have asked me about this. I've already seen on text and Twitter and the chat. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is on the move again, and I do want to talk about that because now with a year and the benefit, not even a full year, a full calendar year, but with the benefit of hindsight, I think we can look back at the deal the Saints did in moving Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. So I want to assess that. We'll do that again 30 minutes from right now, top of hour number 2. Let me knock out a quick break, y'all. We'll come back, go around the SEC. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. You know, it happens every year, y'all. It happens every single year. We start getting 80-degree temperatures. We think spring is here, and then we get one more cold snap. Literally happens every year. Well, this is it. We're at the end of March. This is your final cold snap. After this, we're heading toward triple-digit temps, and you know it. So call River City's 1 Hour Air. This is the time to do it for your preseason AC tune-up. Call 752-0001, 752-0001. They'll come out, mention the Moscona special, mention the show. They'll save you $25 on that preseason AC tune-up. It is so worth doing this. If you want your AC to last, not just through this summer, but summers to come, make sure you do this standard maintenance. It's like an oil change for your car. Make sure you're maintaining your home central AC unit as well. Call River City's 1 Hour Air. Big yellow vans and trucks with a giant clock on the side. You can't miss them. It's River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. long live you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
It's good to be back in league play. It was a good competitive weekend. Obviously a good accomplishment. I think, could be off on this, you guys would probably know better than me. I think we were the only road team to win the series this weekend, which is a good thing. Obviously would have liked to finish off yesterday 4 outs away from, sweeping a team that, a number of coaches, picked to win the national championship. So I thought all in all it was way more positive than not. And, we'll just kind of get regrouped and ready for the next week.
Yeah, the folks over at Jay Johnson, by the way, the folks over at D1 Baseball agree after LSU's weekend series win in College Station. Tigers remain number one in the country in the D1 baseball poll. The big shakeup, obviously, was Tennessee. After they got swept at Missouri, Tennessee plummeted all the way to 12. But here's your top 10 in D1 baseball. LSU remains number one in the country. Wake Forest jumps up from 4 to 2. Florida, a big mover as well, from 5 to 3 after they were really impressive this weekend in their sweep of Alabama. They took 2 out of 3 from Alabama. Vanderbilt, which was, they slaughtered Ole Miss this weekend. Vandy jumps up to 4. They were 6, so they move up 2 spots. Arkansas, after sweeping Auburn, moves up 2 spots from 7 to 5. Louisville moves up 2 spots from 8 to 6. UCLA, a big jump from 13 to 7. They're followed by Virginia, which moved from 14 to 8. Stanford up 1 spot from 9 to 8. East Carolina holds pat at 10. South Carolina, a big mover as well, from 16 up to 11. And then there we find Tennessee and Ole Miss after they were both humbled this weekend. They dropped to 12 and 13, respectively. Texas A&M drops to 21, and Kentucky is in the rankings after its fine weekend there at 23. So that's how your top 25 looks from D1 baseball after this past weekend. So, again, your top 10, LSU, Wake Forest, Florida, Vandy, Arkansas. That's your top 5. Louisville, UCLA, Virginia, Stanford, East Carolina. So, LSU, Florida, Vandy, Arkansas, 4 of the top 5. But that's it in the top 10. Then South Carolina, 11. Tennessee, 12. Ole Miss, 13. Texas A&M, 21. I forgot Missouri. Missouri's 22, and Kentucky is 23. So that's your D1 baseball top 25 coming out of this weekend in conference play. Muso at the box. What's on the pod today, Muse?
Oh yeah, today was recap of the Texas A&M series. You're pretty much just exclusively focused in on that. Is it?
Anything you'd like to add about?
Sure. So, well, I mean, go through. Well, you asked. That's the broad. That's what we did. But game by game, talk a little bit Friday, talk a little bit Saturday, talk to the bullpen, starting rotation, things of that nature.
Better yet, give me a takeaway from the weekend.
For LSU? Okay.
No, give me a takeaway from Kentucky, please.
Well, I didn't know if you were asking about the entirety of the weekend, Matt. You said, give me a takeaway from the weekend.
You do a podcast called Muso at the Box. Muso, I'm trying to get you to promote the podcast. Give me a takeaway from LSU's. Give me a takeaway from LSU's weekend.
You want to win 2 out of 3 every time. You did that, and you dominated. When you mentioned it right there, when some of the quote-unquote top teams in the league, like a Tennessee or Ole Miss or teams like that, they struggled. You did not struggle except for, maybe 2 innings on Sunday late in the game. So that was fantastic. I think it's still a very small sample, but, I mean, you like what you saw as a whole. I tell you this. I thought you saw the lineup depth really show off this weekend, particularly on a game like Saturday, where you had one hit in the top 3 in your lineup, and you still had 12 runs on 13 hits that game. So, 4 through 9 were awesome on Saturday. That is something that LSU, they didn't even really have that last year. They had a great offense, but it wasn't 1 through 9. They have that right now, and that was awesome. Paul Skenes is great. So, yeah, Moose with the box.
Paul Skenes is great.
Every day. New Orleans flooring. Check it out. It's great.
Paul Skenes is so great.
He's awesome.
He's so much fun. I'm so glad he's here.
He's
he's so good.
He's got 4 walks in 30 innings this year.
He's so good.
The 59 Ks is impressive, but the man's got 4 walks.
I know. Hitters are guessing. And when you're trying to guess, and it could be 98 to 100 right up your donkey, or a wipeout slider at 91, 92, that's tough.
And then you just think you might get a break, and here comes a 91-mile-an-hour changeup, which is absurd.
So good. I like him. I like him a lot.
So it was a good weekend for them, man. It was a really good weekend for them.
Paul Skenes. Musso at the box. Make sure you're subscribed, however you get your podcast. Okay. Next time I ask, I'm just opening the door for you to promote the pod.
Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, it was a very open-ended question, and you were just talking about the entire SEC. I have thoughts on that too. I mean, we do that on Tuesdays on Moose with the Box.
Speaking of, let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Missouri Tigers.
The call no coach once Eli Drinkwitz got over the weekend. Missouri linebacker Chad Bailey, he's been suspended for the team after arrested on suspicion of driving while intoxicated early Sunday morning. Bailey's 23. He was a team captain last year, was 3rd on the team in tackles, started the 11 games he played in. He missed 2 due to injury. He came back for a 6th year. I mean, one of your best players arrested over the weekend. Missouri's student-athlete handbook requires a student-athlete be arrested for a minimum of, suspended for a minimum of 1 week after being arrested. So Chad Bailey arrested and suspended.
The Florida Gators.
Florida center Jason Jitabo has 1 season remaining college eligibility. He's going to spend it elsewhere. He's entered the transfer portal. I remember when Colin Castleton broke his hand, Jitabo started at center for the final 7 games of the season for the Gators. 6'11", 300-pounder from Nigeria. He's the 3rd Florida player entering the transfer portal after Todd Golden's first season there in Gainesville. He joins Cavassier Reeves and Niels Lane.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
The 4th South Carolina men's basketball player has entered the transfer portal. This time it is forward Daniel Hankins-Sanford. He joins Javon Benson, Trayvon Minott, and Ford Cooper. Let's see. Hankins-Sanford is a 6'8", 233-pound true freshman. Played in 22 games this season. Averaged just over 2 points per game. He was ranked the number 148 overall prospect in the country, the 33rd best power forward. He's on the move. Get you caught up on the basketball from this past weekend. Auburn was buried by Houston with a second-half barrage. Auburn had a 10-point halftime lead, but they were outscored 50-23 by the 1 seed there. Auburn's season is over. Missouri's run came to an end at the hand of Princeton. The 15 seed hit 12 threes. 7 seed Mizzou went cold. They're done as well. How about Tennessee advancing? They ended Duke's 10-game winning streak to advance to the Sweet 16. Arkansas, maybe one of the biggest surprises of the weekend. The 8 seed Arkansas knocked off number 1 seed Kansas to reach the Sweet 16, and then Eric Musselman ripped off his shirt like a moron. Great coach. I'm not saying don't be excited. Just keep your shirt on next time. Alabama blew out Maryland. Javon Quinterly and Brandon Miller combined for 41 points, and Bama rolled 73-51. And now we know as well Kentucky, their season is done, failing to reach the Sweet 16 yet again. Oscar Tshiebwe's Kentucky career is now over as K-State advances to the Sweet 16. There you have it. That is Around the SEC presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products online, gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Face-to-face sales service after the sale. That's what you always get at Gulf Coast Office Products. Find them online at gcopnet.com. Our nation's leader among Savin dealers, but they will service all different makes and models. Check them out, Gulf Coast Office Products. All right, it is after further review. Glad you're hanging out. Hope you had an awesome weekend. Kim Mulkey and the Lady Tigers certainly did. They're advancing to the Sweet 16. Some thoughts on that. You'll hear from Kim Mulkey here in just a second as well when we come back after the top of the hour. After this break to wrap up before the top of the hour. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Pluckers. It's a Monday, which means all you can eat wings. Great opportunity to get by Pluckers any night of the week because every night of the week there's always something going on. But you want to talk about the NBA? We're down to the final 3 weeks of the NBA regular season. NCAA tournament, best spot to watch all the college basketball action. Maybe if you're like Terrio and you're locked into the World Baseball Classic and you're fired up about Team USA reaching that World Baseball Classic final and you want a place to watch where you can eat wings, drink beer, and watch Team USA whip a little foreign tail, you could do it at Pluckers. 2 locations, Nicholson just south of campus, Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. Dine in, carry out, or delivery, Uber Eats, DoorDash, check the apps. You can get your wings delivered to you. But there's nothing like bellying up to the bar, getting a booth or a table with some buddies or your family, watching your favorite sporting event on TV while dining on award-winning jumbo chicken wings and ice-cold draft beer. It's at Pluckers if you don't like our wings. We'll give you the bird.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off new 2022 Jeep Gladiators and $8,000 off new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokees. All new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Otter.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP on select new.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
So I don't really do early, and I don't do cold, which was why Saturday's wearing of the Green Parade was a challenge for ya boy. I was invited by our good friends at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana to ride in the parade on their float. Fellas, do you all attend this parade? Muse, I know you were in Austin this weekend, but do you normally attend?
I do.
Paulie, do you normally attend?
We do.
You do? Okay. Every year or just sporadically?
Sporadically, but it's been pretty frequent as of late.
Okay.
Like the last 3.
Okay.
We haven't gone since we had Opal, but it used to be every year.
Okay. So I have not been to the Wearing of the Green Parade. I've never ridden in it, but I haven't been to the parade, I think, since 2010. That was the first year that ESPN was in existence, and as I recall, I had the station vehicle out by the overpass, somewhere at Duvix or one of those places over there. I don't remember exactly where. But we were set up there, and that was kind of it. And I think I've only been maybe one other time in my life. I've heard people talk about it. I had no idea how big this parade was.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we were all, by the way, so you can pull this up, Paul, if you want. This was me. We were in line getting ready to roll down 100 Oaks. We met at Aesthetic Medicine at 7 a.m. We had to meet there at 7 a.m. to load the float, then to go get in line for 8 a.m., although the parade didn't roll at 10, and we were so far back, we didn't actually start moving until 10:50. So it was an early wake-up call, and it was freezing. So rolling down Perkins with wind cutting you at about 40, the air temp is 40, and then wind is cutting you, and you're exposed out in a float. That was not so great. I was sitting on a bag of beads, huddled up, like trying to get any blockage from wind that I could, thinking life is about choices and life decisions, and this was a bad one for your boy. But then the parade was awesome. So it made it so worth it getting up early. Now I got home and I crashed for like 2 hours on Saturday afternoon. But had a great time at the parade. I just had no idea that there were that many people at this thing. All the way down 100 Oaks, then turning on to Perkins. When we were rolling down 100 Oaks, I thought, man, we're probably close to being done. I should just start unloading all of my stuff. Not even realizing when we turned onto Perkins, that's where everyone's like 15 deep.
Yep.
It was a problem because your boy ran out of stuff. But I had a great time. Saw T-Bob and Rivers on the parade route and a lot of other friends. And, I had, so Aesthetic had like the coolest throw maybe ever. They had doubloons for 4 free units of Botox. Now, neither of you know or care about this, but that would be like gold for adults in the crowd, especially ladies. Like, I can't tell you how many times you toss one to a lady, they get it, be like, it's a little wooden doubloon, like a little wooden doubloon. Like, what is this? They look at you, can see their face go, oh my God. So when I passed by T-Bob and Rivers, because they had told me where they were set up with their families, I had a bag for their kids. So it's the one thing that I prepared, because it's the one group of people I knew were on the route, because that's what you do, right? I mean, of course, yeah, like for sure. you when you know someone's going to be there, and they had their kids with them. So I had this bag with like all stuffed animals and like little footballs and all the stuff that it's all junk, but it's the stuff that you want in a parade, right? It's the cover stuff. These beads where the beads were like this big, like the size of baseballs. The beads were the size of baseballs, huge. And I had them all in a bag, and then I had the doubloons. And so I saw them, and so like I leaned over and I tossed the doubloons first, very carefully, because you don't want them to scatter, because then it's a big problem, right? Then people are scrambling for anyway. And we were crawling the whole parade until we got right past them, and then we're cruising. And so I tossed the doubloons, and I reached down to get the bag, and now we're 30, 40 feet past. And so I'm yelling, T-Bob, I'm like, come get this bag. And he's like, no, bro, we're good. We're good. I'm like, no, like the one thing that I actually prepared, and I got all these, this we're good stuff. Well, I threw it, but. And if I were smart, what I would have just done was like put the doubloons in the bag and hit on the back. But that
would have made sense, yeah.
That didn't occur to me until after.
That would have made sense. So you just handed threw the bag to somebody else, or you just...
Yeah, well, then I just started throwing
stuff out of the bag. It's like, everybody
what are you
going to
do? Now. What am I going to do now? Like, bring it to T-Bob today to bring to his kids?
That would ruin the experience.
Yeah, that's exactly the point.
You want to catch the... Yeah.
That's exactly the point. You want it off the float. That's the whole the excitement of it. So anyway, we had a good time, though. We had a very good time.
Best parade in Baton Rouge, man. It's the best parade in Baton Rouge. for my money.
I don't think there's even an argument about that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be the biggest.
Either that or Spanish Town, I would think.
I mean, even Spanish Town. Like, I've been to Spanish Town before. Radio remotes and stuff throughout the years. Even cool setups downtown. But yeah, it was great. Shout out to Aesthetic Medicine and Agent Clinics of Louisiana. If you caught one of those doubloons, lucky you. Because
like gold, like you said.
But you have, like, I'm sure you have, like, no
absolutely not.
You have no context. So that's fine. Like, it's no biggie. I mean, you're a guy in your late 20s. I mean, but I mean, free units of Botox is like, I mean, that was like throwing gold to people. I don't know any other way to say it. Like, when people would catch one and realize what they got, it was pretty incredible. So anyway, had a great time. Shout out Aesthetic Medicine and Agent Clinics of Louisiana. We had a great time on the float. And I'd love to ride again next year. It was great. Great time. All right, it's time for further review. SportsCenter coming up. Get caught up on national headlines. When we come back, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is on the move again. He's headed to the Detroit Lions. I want to look back now with the benefit of hindsight at the Saints trade they made last year during camp. We'll do that coming up right after SportsCenter. Don't you move.
AFR.
Brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawbillsTire.com, home of the Charlie's Dozen. Remember, when you buy tires at Shawbills, Shawbills will extend a dozen benefits to you, to your vehicle, and to every vehicle in your family when you buy tires at Shawbills. Things like free tire rotations, free balancing for the life of the tires, free tire repair, something I tell you all the time. Even if you didn't buy, let's say you bought your tires at Shawbills, your spouse, you didn't buy those tires, you have a need for a tire repair, they'll fix it for free, no questions asked. That's just what they do because, as Mr. Charlie said for decades, it's just the right thing to do. You treat people like family, and they'll keep coming back year after year after year after year. That's the difference at Shawbills. Check them out online at ShawbillsTire.com. 18 locations. Find that location nearest you. Ask about the Shawbills credit card as well. Shawbills, we keep you rolling.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call Hudco Roofing.
Give us a call 364-1007 and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports NFL owners expected to finalize a multi-year extension for Commissioner Roger Goodell at next week's owners' meetings. It will likely be the most lucrative deal given to any commissioner in any sport. One less team in the Odell Beckham Jr. sweepstakes. Cowboys likely out of the competition for the free agent receiver after acquiring receiver Brandon Cooks. OBJ, who's suffered 2 ACL tears in his career, needs to think short-term, advises Canty and Carlin co-host Chris Canty.
It's not about you landing a long-term contract to secure your financial future. Based on what we've seen from you in the injury history over the last couple of years, that's going to be a tough ask for any team. Right now, it's about positioning yourself to get to free agency and have more leverage in 2024, and that's finding the best fit where you can be a productive player on a winning team.
Chris Canty on Greeny. Hall of Famer, Iona basketball coach Rick Pitino has agreed on a 6-year deal to become the next coach at St. John's. He's only the only coach to lead 3 programs to the Final Four and 1 national titles with Kentucky and Louisville.
Need to spring back into hiring season? You need Indeed, the smart hiring platform that delivers 4 times more hires than all other sites combined, according to Talent Nest. Post a job and hire ASAP. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Gavin Guidry, LSU freshman, will be in studio next hour. Looking forward to that. By the way, I got a text from Travis McGraw, who said, we're talking about, I was at the Wearing of the Green parade, riding on the aesthetic medicine float. He said, the Botox units my wife caught says expiration date 2020. The problem was so it says that, but don't throw them away. They're good. They were going to ride in the parade in March of 2020 when COVID happened. So they had these doubloons that never got thrown, so they kept them for this year. So they are good. So if you caught one, don't throw it away. Trust me, don't throw it away. All right, it's after further review. Oh, Muse, also, do me a favor. Grab the new updated talking points for the bracket challenge, please, if you could, because I want to make sure we get that in here in a second. Because even if your bracket looks awful, one of the things we're doing this year is each week there's sort of like a contest reset. So you could go fill out Sweet 16 winners this week and win like $100 Pluckers gift card, stuff like that. So we'll get to that in just a second. So thanks to someone, it was Chris Keller said, how does yours and Mama Scone's brackets look good? Look, I don't know how Mama Scone's looks. Mine not great like everyone else, although I don't think anybody really cares how anybody's brackets do. People just want to see me lose to Mama Scone, which there could be a realistic possibility of that this year. I mean, it's this whole this is, as you would have expected, this is one of the more unpredictable years because there was never really a team this year in college basketball that emerged as or teams. Bama, certainly you could make the case, but at times, I mean, you could have made that case about Purdue or Kansas. Both of them are gone. So Hunt had Arizona winning the whole thing. They gone. I mean, I have Houston winning it all in my bracket, so they're still alive, but I can't tell you I feel confident at all about that. So this could be a year where Mama Scone takes me down. We'll see. So I think I speak for every Saints fan when I say we love C.J. Gardner-Johnson. When the Saints drafted him out of Florida, I remember it very well because I remember the player so well at Florida. And I remember thinking I was so excited when the Saints drafted him because he's a guy I absolutely hated when he was on the other team. But he's the guy you love when he's on your team. And so when they traded him, I was devastated because I love the player. But I also understood that if you were the Saints and you didn't feel like you were going to be able to reach a free agent agreement with C.J. Gardner-Johnson, that you trade him to recoup assets for him instead of letting him walk in free agency for nothing. So a year ago, or in August in camp when they made the deal, I understood it. I didn't love it, but understood it. Now, C.J. Gardner-Johnson is on the move again, which complicates his story even further. Here's Ian Rappaport, by the way, today on Monday with what happened with explaining what happened here with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and the Eagles, etc.
Pretty good situation for Gardner-Johnson. He ends up back with Aaron Glenn and some other people that he was with the New Orleans Saints. So certainly some familiarity there. Should be able to fit right in and succeed. But you're right, obviously very, very difficult free agency for Gardner-Johnson. I know the Saints, when he was back with them before they ended up trading him, made a long-term contract extension offer to him. Did not accept it. They ended up trading him, was with the Eagles, had a successful season. They made an offer to him before free agency. What happens is there's only so much money and there's only so many chairs. So the Eagles make an offer to him. He does not accept it. They say, okay, they move on. They bring back Darius Slay. They bring back James Bradbury. And at that point, it was essentially done, leaving him with the best option being to land with the Detroit Lions.
Okay. So Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's on the move again. Just this past camp, the Eagles traded 2 picks for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. The Saints got a 2023 5, and a 2024 6 in exchange for C.J. Gardner-Johnson and a 2025 7th rounder. It was, considering the caliber of the player, it felt like light compensation, but from the Saints' perspective, they looked at it like we got something for him as opposed to getting nothing for him this offseason because they knew that they had reached their limit of what they were willing to pay, and it wasn't something he was willing to accept. And then you factor in all of the other stuff that went along with it, like fighting with Michael Thomas at practice, and then there were other stories of instances with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and teammates, etc., in the locker room, him yelling about his money, and these were all things that were just rumored and said. And so if you're the Saints front office, you're looking and saying, okay, well, we don't want this contract situation to become a locker room issue during the 2022 season. We know we're not going to be able to sign him after this year because we're so far apart on terms of the contract. Let's trade him now and get something for him. And that's what the Saints did, in essence. So I started thinking about this today with the benefit now of hindsight. Another year removed, or a season removed. Right now we're in the free agent period where Chauncey Gardner-Johnson would be a free agent, right? Had he stayed with the Saints, you'd be in the same situation. And we can look at it now and see that the Eagles, another team, and I think we could all agree right now, I mean, the Eagles are the cream of the crop in the NFC. It's Eagles and Niners as far as the best rosters, the 2 teams that played in the NFC Championship game. And, of course, if Philly went to the Super Bowl this year. But Philly, with that roster, looked at Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, made an offer to him, just like the Saints did. The Saints made a long-term free agent offer to Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. He said no. He wanted more money. The Eagles now make an offer. He turns that down. Says, I want more. So consecutive off seasons now, he's had an opportunity to sign a long-term deal, and in consecutive seasons now, he's turned that down. He played on the final year of a rookie deal. And now is going to play in 2023 without a long-term contract and play on a one-year deal at $8 million. This is so perplexing to me. But I also think, in a way, it's kind of validating for what the Saints did. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was on a rookie deal of 4 years, $3.3 million. So that was his rookie contract. It was 4 years, $3.3 million. He got $784 at signing. The average base was $826. So my point is, he didn't make a ton of money. I mean, over his first 4 years in the league, he made $3.3 million total. That's before agent fees, before taxes, all that stuff. So this was his first opportunity to get paid, and he's getting a 1 year, $8 million deal. For comparison's sake, like, Tyrann Mathieu is making more than $9 million a year in New Orleans. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is a 25-year-old in his prime, led the NFL in interceptions this year, despite missing 5 games with a lacerated kidney, and is getting less on a 1 year deal than Tyrann Mathieu is being paid in New Orleans. For what it's worth, we referenced Spotrac, right, which lists, market value for players, what they estimate the market value would be. They estimate Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's market value at $13.3 million per. The contract that they would suggest is a 5-year, $66 million deal, averaging out to $13.3 million. He ain't sniffing that on a 1 year, $8 million contract. So I think you have to keep coming back and saying, why? Like, the fact that now another team, a team for whom he played, helped get to the Super Bowl, led the NFL in pass defense, led the NFL in the Eagles led the NFL in pass defense, and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson led the NFL in interceptions despite missing 5 games, and they're not willing to invest the number that he wanted. They made him an offer, and he looked and said, I want more. So they were like, cool, we'll move on. We'll sign James Bradberry and Darius Slay, which they did. It is very strange to see this play out the way that it has. When you look at safeties, the highest paid safeties in the NFL, in the average value, Derwin James is at the top at $19.1 million per. Minkah Fitzpatrick's at $18.4. Jamal Adams at $17.6. Kevin Byard's at $14.1. Marcus Williams at $14 million. I mean, that's the kind of rarefied air that you'd be considering right now with a guy like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. But the deal he's taking in Detroit has him as the 20th highest paid safety in the NFL. One spot behind Marcus May, by the way, who's making $7.5 per year on average at a $22.5 million deal with the New Orleans Saints. So it is bizarre to see this the way it is, but in a way, I think it's affirming of what the Saints did in their decision to move on, because now you have another team, a team that gave up assets to get Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, thinking they'd have him and be able to sign him, and now they weren't able to agree to an extension with him as well. So they gave up 2 draft picks to get a player on a rent deal for 1 year, basically. Super affordably, but they gave up 2 picks to have Chauncey Gardner-Johnson for 1 year and then didn't sign him to a long-term contract. I think Philly validated the Saints' decision. Obviously, Chauncey wanted more money than New Orleans was willing to pay, so they got assets for him, and Philly validated the Saints' decision by not paying, by essentially agreeing with the Saints' valuation and not overpaying for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Now, him going to Detroit makes a lot of sense. Dan Campbell is the head coach. Aaron Glenn's the defensive coordinator. Both of them were in New Orleans. Glenn was the secondary coach. Campbell was on the staff with Sean Payton as well. and he was there. They were both there for 2 years in New Orleans with Chauncey before they went as a tandem there to Detroit. But you're talking about a player who certainly has outperformed the 1-year deal that he's getting, and it begs the question, why? Why then isn't there a stronger market for a player of his caliber? And it really begs the question of, are there personality, locker room issues with this guy that have just become known in the NFL such that nobody wants to make that big long-term investment in him? Can he play? Absolutely. And he did a magnificent job this year in Philly transitioning from corner to safety. I mean, he was an awesome nickel for New Orleans, and he transitioned, played safety in Philly this year. So he's proven to be versatile. He's proven to be obviously productive, intense, all the things you want. And nobody will pay him. Nobody will pay him what he wants. Why? Is his ask that ridiculous? Don't know. Or maybe is it just that for this particular player and whatever baggage may come with him, they're not willing to accompany that dollar figure with him? I mean, we saw the Jets trade Jamal Adams to Seattle for multiple number 1 picks. And now I get it, it's a free safety, but multiple ones and a contract that's paying Jamal Adams $70 million, 17.6 per year. It defies logical explanation that Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, I'm not saying he's going to get Jamal Adams money, but the fact that nobody in this league was willing to invest a long-term deal into that player. Maybe he's getting bad advice. I don't know. But all of the circumstances surrounding it, you can look back with hindsight now and realize if you're the Saints, you made the right decision. As much as you hate it because you love the player, the Saints made the right decision. They traded him. They got something for him instead of watching him walk in free agency this year, which is what happened to Philly. So, wish him well. Wish he was still in New Orleans. Wish it made sense for him to be in New Orleans. But the Saints moved on. They drafted Alontae Taylor. And I'm going to tell you, man, that worked out okay this year. Alontae Taylor proved to be super versatile on the outside, in the slot. And the Saints are moving on with another really talented young player. So, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, he's on the move again. 1-year deal in Detroit. See if next year he might finally be able to cash in. Who's going to pay him? That remains to be seen. All right. It's After Further Review. Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows, reliefwindows.com. Windows, door siding, Relief Windows, and reliefwindows.com. We'll knock out a quick break. Come back. Jay Johnson met with the media earlier today, recapping the weekend over in College Station and looking ahead to this week for his top-ranked Fighting Tigers. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. You can also go to rouses.com. That's rouses.com. Crawfish, y'all, as we move through all these spring months, it is crawfish season. It is a perfect time to get by Rouse's. If you want crawfish tonight, just swing into Rouse's, live or boiled. If you're having a crawfish boil, you can get your live crawfish at Rouse's. If you want someone else to take care of it, let Rouse's do what they've done for 30 years. Go to Rouse's. Any of their 60-plus locations, of course, you can go into Rouse's, just walk in, go to the left. You'll see the seafood department. They've got their hot and boiled kiosks. Those crawfish that are already bagged, priced, tagged, all of it, those were boiled in-house today. Every day starting at 11 a.m., their in-house boiling rooms crank up, and they start boiling crawfish every single day in-house at Rouse's. So you're eating freshly boiled crawfish on that day when you go to Rouse's. Check them out today at rouses.com. Rouse's, this feels like home.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Congrats to Tommy White, named SEC Player of the Week on Monday by the league office. White hit .474 in the 4 games this week, of course, beating UNO, and then the 3-game series against Texas A&M. He had a homer, 11 RBI, and 7 runs scored in the Tigers' 4 games this weekend. His current hitting streak stands at 14 games. So I hit 500 in the A&M series. A massive hit in the 9th inning of Friday night's game where he missed a grand slam by that much and ultimately doubled in a couple of runs that broke the game open for LSU. So congrats to Tommy White, justifiably named SEC Player of the Week. He's hitting .419 on the year. That maybe is, and he's leading the team with 34 RBI. That maybe is the most impressive thing. We all knew Tommy White was coming in with the home run power after the freshman season he had at NC State. What I didn't, and I'm sure many of you didn't realize either, was just how capable he is hitting to all fields, and not just hitting with power to all fields, but how he can handle the bat. He's not just a power hitter who's slugging for the fences every single AB. He's got that ability every at bat to leave the yard, but man, he can hit the ball and spray it all over the field, which has been really fun to watch. So, congrats to Tommy White. I did get I got a text into the show, and we haven't talked about this yet. Someone asked, here it is. Chris Terrio said, Matt, have you talked about the third base play where LSU pushed the Aggies' hands off the base? Have not talked about it yet. If you missed it, it was a point in the game where LSU still had the lead, and A&M was trying to bring together a rally, and LSU caught the runner between second and third, and they throw down to third. Tommy White misses the tag. The runner avoided the tag, gets to the base, and as White is lunging to tag, he pushes the runner's hand off the base, and so the umpire originally ruled safe, and then ruled that the base runner left the bag and was out. They reviewed it, and and confirmed the call. It was very odd. I didn't know the rule, but if you watched it, it was abundantly clear that Tommy White, in diving at the bag, pushed the runner's hand off the bag. Otherwise, the runner would have stayed on the bag and would have been safe. I went and looked up the rule, and I mean, here it is. I tweeted a screen grab of it if anybody is interested, if you're not watching right now. But the rule, it's Rule 5.06A1. It said, if in the judgment of an umpire, a runner is pushed or forced off base by a fielder, intentionally or unintentionally, at which the runner would have otherwise been called safe, the umpire has the authority and discretion under the circumstances to return the runner to the base he was forced off following the conclusion of the play. Basically saying it's a judgment call by the ump. If the ump feels that the base runner was forced off by the fielder, then they could return them to the bag. I totally understood in real time how if you're the umpire and it's bang, bang, and you saw the base runner come off, which he clearly did, and then the tag was there, I can understand real time why you would rule him out, say that he came off the bag. What is harder to understand is that upon review, or after further review, it was very clear Tommy White pushed him off the bag. So that was bizarre that that after they reviewed it, they didn't return the runner, but you take them how you can get them, and that one went LSU's way, and there will be calls that don't go LSU's way, but that one went LSU's way in that instance. It was bizarre. I mean, I certainly thought, I understand why the umpire made the call real time, because I think it would have been very difficult to tell real time that it was White's glove that pushed the runner off the bag. After reviewing it, it's more difficult not to. After reviewing it, it's difficult to understand how they didn't return the runner to third base. But anyway, it went LSU's way. Chalk it up as, one for the good guys. All right, it's after further review. Jay Johnson met with the media today on Monday after LSU took 2 out of 3. And, I want to play number 6 music if we can. He was asked sort of what his message was to the team on Sunday after a tough loss where, look, I mean, you allowed a 4-run bottom of the 8th that cost you an opportunity to sweep a good team on the road.
After the game, it was like, look, we all wanted to win, okay? It was the game, okay? We didn't get ahead in the count. Their pitching, I will tip the hat to that at the end of the game yesterday. They did a good job, but it was like, we're not going to be sad face on the plane and carry that. Like, you have to move on during a 56-game season, and it was a great road series win. I think every game's important. They know that. They know it's a playoff game. All the games count the same. So there's disappointment. So respect the guys that maybe are hurt a little bit, that they didn't do a little bit more, and help them. But, like, once we got on the plane, it was time to move on.
Justin Lampkin was really good in replace. Chris Cortez did make it out of the second for A&M. LSU touched him up for 4 in the first. He had issues with walks, and it was a problem. And LSU touched him up. Lampkin came in, and Lampkin was great. He went 4 in the third, allowed 1 run on 4 hits, struck out 5. He was really good. He handcuffed LSU. He kept A&M in it until their bats ultimately broke through in the 8th against Cooper and then Shores and ultimately Christian Little as well. But LSU takes 2 out of 3. The other thing that I thought was interesting is Jay Johnson was asked about the bullpen. And I think this is sometimes where we tend to overreact to a moment. Here was Jay Johnson saying, look, he has full faith in those guys.
Full trust in the guys we used yesterday. I mean, Riley's got us out of a bunch of messes last year. I thought Chase Shores' outing for the first time in that environment in the SEC was outstanding. Like, I mean, couldn't quite ask for more in that. It was an easy decision to send him back out for the 8th because, I mean, wasn't in any trouble. I mean, he got us out of trouble and then pitched 2 pretty clean innings there. Made a nice pitch on a changeup for the double play ball to finish the 7th. And then Christian's been great. I mean, like, you look at that stat line, and that's exactly who you want in the game right there. So I think it was a good test. I feel like we really benefited. I mean, you never want to lose a game, but you want to make it valuable when you do. I think yesterday's game will be valuable for our team.
I believe him. I mean, I'm not going to overreact to losing that game yesterday. I think as we said at the start of the show, if you missed it, you can always go listen on demand at the beginning, just on YouTube or however you get your podcast, search after further review. We talked about this. It was the first thing we talked about today, which is, I think it's our nature that we tend to focus on the negative. And it sucks that that's the case, but it's true. I mean, I'm looking, I was just checking some of my text, and there was a very, an expletive riddled text message that I just saw from a listener. I won't tell you his name, but there's 1, 2, 3. There's 4 F-bombs in this text, and the text ends with "Holy F, we suck," meaning LSU. Like that's like the emotion. Moose is looking at me like, "What are you talking about?" That's the emotion that goes along with losing a game in the manner in which you did. I get it. But you got to keep things in perspective, man. Like you won 13 straight games, all right? Or 14. I don't even remember how. Was it 13? It ended at 13. Okay, they won 13. They started 18-1, which is like the best record since the 2013. They're incredible. They hit 1 through 9. You've got really good arms in your rotation. You just went on the road and took 2 out of 3 from a top 15 team. Like, I'm not going to overreact to losing it. It sucked the way it did, but like. Something I often say is winning mask deficiencies, right? We talk about it all the time. Sometimes you win games when you didn't play well, but you ignore the things that didn't go well because you won the game. Well, the opposite sometimes is true. Whenever you lose a game, you emphasize the negative instead of focusing on all the really good things that happened, and there were plenty of them this weekend. One more from Jay Johnson. Could we play number 2, please? This was Jay Johnson talking about what they learned from Sunday's loss.
I still think there's an element to this which is hard to understand, that you're still learning about your team a little bit. And I definitely felt after the Iowa game, I learned a lot that day. And I felt that yesterday as well. You know, it was the first time we'd brought in guys back twice in a weekend, you know, with the exception of one other time. I think they'll be more prepared to do that next time. With that being said, I think there was some good in our relievers yesterday. I mean, Riley came in and got a double play. Chase came in and got us out of a big-time jam right there. You know, Christian we were 1 out away from taking a 2-run lead into the 9th. So, yeah, it's the margin between winning and losing against good teams is small.
You know, look, we can nitpick things. I mean, Riley did come in and get the double play immediately, and then I was a little surprised they stuck with him for as long as he did when he was having trouble hitting his spots. We could have that conversation. The other part of it he alluded to there is, yeah, look, I mean, it was the first time they brought guys back multiple times in a weekend, but we saw Riley Cooper do that a bunch last year. And I remember there was a point late in the season where we looked at that and specifically instances a year ago where Riley Cooper was used multiple times in a weekend, and if there was a correlation to him struggling the second time out, and there really wasn't. There really wasn't a great correlation. Now, with Eric Razelman, that was a bit different, and I think there was an obvious reason why. He was a power pitcher. He was coming out, you know, dotting 99, and if you brought him back in a consecutive day or second time in a weekend, he tended last year not to be as effective the second time. That wasn't the case with Riley Cooper. He's a different style of pitcher. He's not going to overpower anybody. He's just going to execute good pitches. So, you know, they're going to play Central Arkansas tomorrow at the box. Hell, they'll probably run rule them because that's what they do to everybody. And then they're going to bring in Arkansas, and it's going to be an awesome opportunity to see this thing go down. The Friday game is an ESPN2 game. The Saturday game is SEC Network. And then Sunday is ESPN2. So all 3 games this weekend are all on linear TV. It's a great opportunity where more people are going to see your games this weekend because they're all on linear networks. And Tigers are going to have a great chance against Arkansas, which swept this past weekend. And you'll have a great opportunity. You swept Auburn. You have a great opportunity to beat Arkansas, humble them a bit, and take the lead in the West. And then you welcome in Tennessee. So, big week. I'm excited about this week. It was a really great start for LSU as well. Okay, it's after further review. We're brought to you by Traction, TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. A couple of things I want to tell you about with Traction. Easter is right around the corner, and they got a couple of camps. So parents, if you are looking for something for your kids to do during the Easter break, here you go. 2 things to keep in mind. Number 1, the Easter Speed Camp. This is with my guy Tevin. This is ages 10 and older. There is no better performance trainer in Baton Rouge. There just isn't than Tevin Moden. April 10th, 11th, and 12th, 9 a.m. to noon at Traction on Burbank, ages 10 and older. And the Traction Easter Baseball Camp, the 10th through the 14th. So there are half-day and full-day options available. This is fundamental training, position instruction. They'll have team games as well. So if your sons and daughters are looking for something to do during Easter week, and by the way, the baseball camp is age 5 to 10. So baseball, ages 5 to 10. The speed camp, ages 10 and older. At Traction, learn more at TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Again, we're just a couple of weeks away now from Easter. What about 3 weeks away from Easter? So go to TractionSports.com and register your sons or daughters for the traction camps. Again, Easter Speed Camp and the Easter Baseball Camp. They're registering right now for Easter week at Traction, tractionsports.com, where champions are made. Okay, it's after further review. What do we have coming up? Oh, I do want to talk a little bit about the Pels, who split with the Rockets over the weekend. And I also want to talk about another impressive addition that the Carolina Panthers made. A lot of y'all don't like this, and I get it, but I think Carolina has nailed this offseason. And I think they're going to, over the next half decade, be the best team in this division with the moves they continue to make. So we'll talk a little bit about the latest move that Carolina made when we return. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. It is freezing. It was last night anyway, but we're at 59 degrees right now, low of 41, so that overnight freeze is gone. Cool right now, but not freezing, thankfully. And y'all know what's on the horizon, y'all. Summer is going to be here before you know it. This beautiful springtime weather. I'm looking here. We're going to hit 80 degrees Wednesday, 84 Thursday, 85 Friday, 81, 81. Y'all, I mean, it's coming. So if you want to get in the garden and just plant something, now is the time. At Clegg's, every single day, they have truckloads of flowers and trees and plants and shrubs arriving. So you're getting this amazing selection at any of their 4 locations. Look, gardening is something fun for the whole family to do. It's great for your mood. It's great exercise. Get you outside, vitamin D with the sun. Just get in the garden, get your hands in the dirt, and just plant something. Beautify that exterior of your home thanks to Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Otter.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off new 2022 Jeep Gladiators and $8,000 off new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokees.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
The Pels split this weekend with Houston. They lost on Friday and then won last night. The loss Friday is completely inexcusable. I don't know that I'm going to say anything different here that anybody else hasn't already said. Pels led by 15 in the fourth quarter and blew it. Rockets hit a game-winning three at the horn. And the Pelicans did rally yesterday. They bounced back yesterday and beat Houston by 10, 117-107. Jonas had 21 and 11. B.I. and C.J. each scored 26. So your stars stepped up and did what they had to do, and now you're a half game out of the last play-in spot right now. I don't have a ton else to say about this team at this point. I would love to tell you that I think they're going to rally and they're going to make it happen. I just don't believe it. It's my feeling about this team has been the same as been for the last 3 weeks since they lost that game to at home to Orlando, when you really felt like it was a make or break stretch in your schedule, to lose that game. It's evident you're going to have some ups and downs. And they had a really nice win in Portland, and then you've had some really disappointing moments, like getting absolutely housed on your home floor by the Lakers. And you would think after that you would go on the road against Houston, against the worst team in the NBA, or the worst team in the West. The Pistons have the worst record, but overall, against the worst team in the West, and bounce back, and you blow a 15-point fourth quarter lead. So it's what they are. Look, I mean, right now, New Orleans is 34 and 37. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams in the entire NBA with a worse record than you. I mean, you're a bad team. That's all there is to say. The way that it's formatted now, to where 7 through 10 are in the play-in, and you have an opportunity to jump in, it keeps you mathematically alive. It keeps you interested. The Pelicans won in this format a year ago. So there's a lot of reason for us to remain engaged. But realistically, they are what they are. They get San Antonio tomorrow. Then they get Charlotte, both very winnable games. It would not surprise me at all if they lose one of them, because that's just what this team is right now. You're a half game out from the final play-in spot. Minnesota and the Lakers are each at 35 and 37. The Jazz are at 34 and 36. The Pels are at 34 and 37. So it's manageable. I just got to go do it. I just don't believe that they will. So maybe they fight and find a way into the play-in, but even if they do, it's hard to imagine them advancing there. So I will be more interested. Tell me this is fair. I will be more interested in what this team may do in the offseason. Zion's health. What potential free agents do you add? Can you improve guard play? I'm more interested in that than I am in what may happen with the remainder of the season. Just very, very disappointing, considering we've seen what this team looks like at its best. And at their best, they were leading the West earlier this year. But it's clearly that was a momentary outlier and not where this team can consistently pace itself. And they've got to address that this offseason. All right, it's after further review. Adam Thielen is headed to the Panthers on a 3-year deal. Last week, we talked about the Panthers trading up for the number 1 overall pick. And I tweeted at Saints fans asking, it's not really a rhetorical question, a legitimate question, like, aren't you the least bit worried or envious of Carolina? And you can go look at the tweet. The reply that I got on the tweet, the replies I got on the tweet, was just a litany of Saints fans ignoring the impending reality, which is the fact that Carolina a year ago, with Matt Rule and then an interim coach and Steve Wilkes, went 7-10. Same record as you. Carolina last year, with Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold and P.J. Walker at quarterback went 7-10 last year. Same record as you. Oh, by the way, they beat you twice. And by the end of the season, their defense was more than respectable. They made a risky decision in trading Robbie Anderson and Christian McCaffrey, but in so doing, acquired a lot of assets, which put them in position to trade up to the number 1 overall pick to get what may be their franchise quarterback, what they hope will be their franchise quarterback. I hope he bombs, whoever it is. But not only that, now you've seen Carolina add Miles Sanders at running back, which I would say is a more than adequate replacement for Christian McCaffrey. They've added Hayden Hurst at tight end. And today they added Adam Thielen. And Thielen's past his prime. He's 33 years old. Look at him. He was on a team with Justin Jefferson, where he obviously overshadowed by one of the best, if not the best, young receiver in the entire NFL. But Thielen's got gas left in the tank, and he had $19.9 million on his contract this year, and Minnesota decided that wasn't a number they were comfortable with, so they asked him if he would take a pay cut. He said no, and so they cut him. And now Thielen's in Carolina. So for all the people who had asked about, well, yeah, look, they traded away Anderson, they traded DJ Moore. Yes, true. And now they've added Thielen. They brought in DJ Chark on a free agent visit, who they still could sign. And they have a full bevy of draft picks, including the number 1 overall pick and the 39th overall pick in this year's draft. They've got 3 picks in the top 100. They've also added Von Bell and Shai Tuttle. They've got 7 picks in this draft, as I mentioned, and they added a coach in Frank Reich, who is a respected coach and a very competent offensive coach. So, look, so much of what Carolina's doing hinges upon them hitting with the first overall pick, and whoever that's, we know it's going to be a quarterback. Who it's going to be, we'll all find out. But I don't know how you can look at what Carolina has done, considering they had the same record as you last year, beat you twice, and now have a better coach. They've certainly hit on some pretty impressive free agent acquisitions. They've got the number 1 pick in the draft, the number 39 pick in the draft, I think number 93 as well. So 3 picks in the top 100. I don't know how you could look at Carolina objectively and not be impressed with what they've been able to do. Now, they got to hit on that quarterback. They got to hit on that pick, and that's the biggest part of it all. But if they do, they have positioned themselves to run this division for the next half decade. And if they really hit on the pick, maybe for much longer. Adam Thielen headed to the Panthers. Another impressive acquisition for Carolina. All right, it's after further review. Final break of hour number 2. Muso will have Tigers in the pros when we come back. And Gavin Guidry, LSU freshman phenom, he'll be in studio here in about 45 minutes from right now. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by New Orleans Flooring. You can always check them out at NOLAflooring.com, NOLAflooring.com. Tell you every day, buy where the pros buy. That's New Orleans Flooring. 2 locations, Metairie and Airline Highway in Prairieville. So if you're on Airline going south, you pass the Walmart, they're on the right, can't miss it, blue sign, New Orleans Flooring. Just walk in. Go see Big Sean. Go see Terrell. Let him explain to you all the options they have. The thing that'll blow you away is when you walk into the Metairie location, or as they're continuing to build out the Prairieville location, all of the flooring that they have in stock. If it's wood or tile or laminate, whatever you're looking for, they've got it. Carpet, they've got it at New Orleans Flooring. And because they keep it in stock, 2 things: they eliminate the middleman, meaning they can save you money as much as 40%. That's why contractors and the pros go to New Orleans Flooring. And, of course, because it's there, you can buy today, they can install it tomorrow. It's New Orleans Flooring. Learn more at NOLAflooring.com. Again, online, NOLAflooring.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Otter.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. Musso has Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
So it looks like the Dallas Cowboys have dropped out of the sweepstakes for Odell Beckham Jr. Cowboys over the weekend, they signed Brandon Cooks as a free agent wide receiver, and a team source told ESPN's Ed Werder, quote, hard to do Cooks and OBJ. Dallas, of course, was heavily linked to OBJ during the season. Nothing happened. Beckham Jr. hosted a workout, which I believe it was reported at least 14 teams did attend. So we'll keep you posted on the latest surrounding Odell Beckham Jr.
Brandon Cooks has been traded like 15 times.
It's been a lot.
All right, so here it is. It's 4. He's been traded from the Saints to the Patriots to the Rams to the Texans, and now the Texans to the Cowboys. That's Field Yates notes one of the most traded players in NFL history.
That is
I would love to know what is I'm going to Google this. What is the record for most times a player has been traded?
I can tell you this too. I'm sure Brandon Cooks is very happy to be out of Houston because he was very vocal about wanting to be traded a few years ago, as well during all the Texans struggles. NBA action last night. Tari Eason for the Houston Rockets played 22 minutes off the bench against the Pelicans, scored 10 points, 5 rebounds. He added a block, was perfect from the free throw line. 6 of 6 for Tari Eason.
Got it.
You got it? What is it?
He's Brandon Cooks, now having been traded for the 4th time, is tied with Eric Dickerson for the most all time.
Wow.
4 trades.
So one more and he's got it.
Let's go for it.
Come
on, Jared.
Is that something we should root for?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Why not?
It'd be a pretty unique record to hold, man. Been traded the most times of anybody. What's your claim to fame?
In a literal sense, it would be unique because a record.
Well, yeah, it's going to be unique, yeah. But, I mean, you know what I mean. Like, that's an odd record.
Yes,
odd record to hold. Better choice of words.
That is that would be an odd...
odd feat there for Brandon Cooks. Here's to hoping he gets it. Trendon Watford played 30 minutes off the bench for the Blazers last night. Double digits in points with 12. Shot 5 of 9 from the floor. Added a steal and 3 rebounds to round out his night. Spring training action from yesterday. DJ LeMahieu continues an extremely hot spring. He's blistering the baseball right now.
Who does he play for?
He plays for the Yankees.
Oh!
He's 2 for 3 yesterday. Scored a run as well. Both hits were singles, but the average is up to 400 right now for DJ.
Too bad it doesn't count. But.
Yeah, sure. But still, look.
Yeah.
He's swinging a hot bat going into the season, Matt. I mean, we like to see that. And finally, beach volleyball. How about this? Yeah. Taryn Cloth, Kristen Nuss, remember them? They never lost when they were at LSU. They still don't lose. They just won the La Paz Champions. It's on the Volleyball World Beach Pro Tour. We could probably ask Lee Feinswalk about that tomorrow, but they did it in straight sets, 21-16 and 21-13. That's Tigers in the pros.
Do we get a ding? A volleyball ding?
I mean, he didn't say it, but...
Might as well. There
sure.
it is. Volleyball ding.
That's Tigers in the pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com. Gentlemen, Easter is almost here. If you are going to pop the question this spring, go where Baton Rouge is going to get engaged for 30 years. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry.
AFR.
All right, as we wrap up hour number 2, let me remind you about Southpoint Volkswagen, airline just north of Highland, or online at southpointvw.com. New certified pre-owned. Last week, I'm so excited, y'all. Last week, traded in my Atlas my Atlas for the Atlas Cross Sport. So Atlas is magnificent. 3-row, 7-seater, family SUV, full-size SUV, ton of room. I just didn't need the third row. Drew's obviously our only child, and so I just found that I always had the third row down. The Cross Sport, little shorter back, little sleeker design, and so that's what I went with. Love it. Even the SE models are so loaded out right now. Check them out at Southpoint Volkswagen. If it's the Atlas, the Cross Sport, the Tiguan, the Taos, the Jetta, the Passat, 9 different IIHS top safety picks. So you get the style, the feel, the performance of luxury, the great German engineering, the safety features without the cost. It's Southpoint Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland, southpointvw.com.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside off the bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside off the bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP on select new 2022 Ford F-150 trucks. $10,000 off plus 0% financing. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Otter.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, Pudco can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call Pudco Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. This just in. The Texans with two major additions to their offense, agreeing to one-year deals with free agent tight end Dalton Schultz and free agent running back Devin Singletary. The Cowboys likely out of the running for free agent Odell Beckham Jr. after trading for receiver Brandon Cooks. As many as 14 teams recently attended OBJ's workout in Arizona. Teams are interested, but with Beckham coming back from a second ACL injury, it might take some time to get a contract done, explains ESPN's Dan Graziano.
Right now, there's a difference between his expectations and what teams are willing to offer, but it's only March, right? There's no games for 6 months, so I think he'll get somewhere. It's just a matter of finding the right deal for a guy that missed all of last season and is coming off 2 ACLs. You know, it's not as simple as, oh, it's Odell Beckham, let's get him in the building, even though he might think that.
Dan Graziano on Greeny. ESPN's Adam Schefter's reporting NFL owners are expected to finalize a multi-year extension for Commissioner Roger Goodell at next week's owners' meetings. Hall of Famer Iona coach Rick Pitino hired as the new men's basketball coach at St. John's, and Georgetown has hired Providence's Ed Cooley as its next head coach.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. At Progressive, they're making things even easier to help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. Learn more at Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. LSU freshman Gavin Guidry in studio about 30 minutes from right now. We're going to have Gavin for 2 segments. So Otter Locks, we're just going to move Jimmy up. So we'll do Otter Locks here in about 15 minutes from right now. If you want to get your wagers in, good opportunity to do it. Otter Locks, again, 15 minutes from right now. Hope you're having an awesome day. Thanks for being here with us. Excited about Tuesday. LSU hits the practice field again. I was thinking, are there gifts... there's got to be of a car revving its engine at the starting line, peeling out, and then going about 5 feet, and then blowing a tire, or just stopping, or the engine shuts down. That's kind of what it felt like at the start of spring football. I mean, LSU finished the season with a lot of momentum, right? I mean, with the bowl win. I mean, we know what happened at College Station and then in the SEC championship game. But you go, you win the bowl game, you head into this offseason. We see all of the tremendous expectation about LSU. We know what's happened in the transfer portal, where LSU really was able to had this extreme sort of makeover in its secondary, adding all these great cornerbacks, defensive linemen. You had some good edge rushers. Ovie Ogofu from Texas jumps aboard as well. And there's all this expectation as LSU's a preseason top 10 team, and we're going to see the second spring under Brian Kelly, and how the first spring was really just learning good habits and all of that stuff, and teaching these guys how to practice and how to work and how to have that ethic. And then this is really more about, man, we're steamrolling toward year 2, building a championship program. Brian Kelly's second spring, but the first where they're really getting down to the nitty-gritty. And they start practice, and then they stop for 10 days. I mean, they had 2 practices and then nothing. They practiced like Tuesday, Thursday, and then nothing. We'll see you in a week Tuesday. So it's been more than a week since LSU's been on the practice field after we revved up in spring and did all the spring primers and everything. So it feels like now we kind of have to do that again. Just as a reminder, the topics that were front and center when LSU opened spring, interested in quarterback reps, for me, that's at or near the top of the list for some obvious reasons. I mean, quarterback is always going to be most interesting, but Walker Howard transferring out means you've got Jaden Daniels, you've got Garrett Nussmeier. Nuss took every third set in the bowl game, or every third series, in the bowl game. So how many first-team reps do we see Garrett Nussmeier get? Is it just a nominal amount to keep him engaged with the first-team offense, or are they splitting reps 50-50? That's worth watching here in this spring. Also, when spring practice began, remember, running backs were a big topic of conversation. John Emery is focusing on academics, purely academics, this spring, which is a great thing. Like, focus on your grades, get your degree, or put yourself within, a few hours of getting your degree, so then the fall can be like, remember like Joe Burrow's fall in 2019? He had like a couple of online courses, and that was it. He was a full-time football player. That happened with Zach Mettenberger back in 2013 as well. You used to see Met every day, like with his Starbucks and his flip-flops, walking into football ops because he had one online course that semester. He was a full-time quarterback. I mean, that's what he was doing. Would love to see if that's the case for John Emery. So get your grades in order here in the spring and be ready to roll for fall so you're eligible, and that's what you're doing. But Josh Williams, Armani Goodwin, Noah Cain, these guys were overcoming some injuries and getting ready to roll for this coming fall. So watching that running back room, who is going to return at this point or at any point during spring, that bears watching. As far as position battles, like, we know who the starters are going to be on the defensive line. It's going to be Mason Smith and Mekhi Wingo. But you got a lot of guys that you brought in, so I'm interested in that rotation. I could say the same on the offensive line. Huge opportunity for Marlon Martinez with Charles Turner out this spring. Could Marlon Martinez potentially win the starting center job? I don't know if he can, but it's worth watching. And then for me, the cornerback position is, I think, going to be the most competitive. We could talk about receivers, but I think you're going to have a lot of depth at receiver and a lot of guys are going to contribute. But for me, looking at those cornerbacks, knowing Mekhi Gardner, Jark Bernard Converse are off to the NFL, Jay Ward's off to the NFL, only played corner safety. But the fact that you brought in 4 guys, all with starter experience and a lot of talent. Now, no Deuce Chestnut, the Syracuse transfer, no Chestnut this spring as he's coming back from an injury. But J.K. Johnson from Ohio State, Zy Alexander from Southeastern, Denver Harris from Texas A&M. If you told me that any of those guys would be a starter game 1 in Orlando against Florida State, I would believe you. I mean, you could make a case for Denver Harris because he's the 5-star, he's the elite talent, all that stuff. I know this staff, because I've had enough conversations about it, they love Zy Alexander. That's the Southeastern transfer. He is big and he is long. The only 6'3", physical, got that swag. The only question is what happens play in and play out when you're lined up against SEC receivers. We'll find out soon enough. So if you told me he aces that test and he's a starter against Florida State, I'd believe it. J.K. Johnson, Deuce Chestnut, a couple of dudes. One was all conference in the ACC. Others played a ton in the Big Ten. I'd believe it in any rotation, in any alignment. You could tell me any of those guys. Let's not forget LaTerrence Welch. any of those guys are going to be starters, and I believe you. So spring, I think, is a big opportunity, not to win the job, but to see who's going to start fall camp with the ones, to see if they can maintain that job moving through fall camp and toward the opener. So LSU will be back on the practice field on Tuesday morning, and then Brian Kelly will meet with the media around 10 a.m. So we'll get to hear from Brian Kelly after they resume practice to see how it's going, as the Tigers will practice Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday as they resume spring practice. So really looking forward to that. All right, it is after further review. Actually, Gavin Guidry just texted me. He's here and the front door is locked. So we'll get somebody to run down. Gotta get somebody to run down and get him. Okay, so all right, hang on. I need to text him real quick. Muse, you want to enthrall people with something while I text Gavin Guidry real quick?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, actually, Matt, I will. I can tell you about the bracket challenge.
Thank you.
How about that? Let's be enthralled with the bracket.
Perfect. We also got a poll question up, too.
Oh, do we? Because I didn't post it.
No, we've got to get a poll question.
Oh, I thought you said we've got one up.
No.
Anyway, look, if you're like me, your bracket's in the toilet. So what you can do is you can make a new one. You can do that at 1045ESPN.com. It's the $1 Million Bracket Challenge. It's powered by Acura of Baton Rouge and Coors Light. Get to 1045ESPN.com, see how you're stacking up, and go ahead and make a fresh bracket. Standalone picks from the Sweet 16 on. The winner of this extra round will receive $100 in Pluckers gift cards. You must get your picks in before the first game on March 23rd. It's the $1 Million Bracket Challenge powered by Acura of Baton Rouge and Coors Light.
I love that we're doing that, by the way. So, like, if your bracket stinks, if you're done, you can win round to round.
Yeah.
Still. So make sure you get to 1045ESPN.com and participate. Like, you can just pick essentially you just pick the Sweet 16 games now. And if you win, then you get a $100 Pluckers gift card. And then we'll do it the next round and so on and so forth. So make sure you do that. All right. Let's do this. We're going to break. And I had Gavin Guidry on the rundown for 5:30, but he's here. So let's break, and we'll come back, and we'll do the next two segments with Gavin. We'll talk some LSU baseball with the freshman out of Lake Charles. Glad to have you aboard with us here. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
I tell you every day about Darren James and Associates, brokered by eXp Realty. And I tell you every day about how Darren has the people, the processes in place, the systems in place to make his gigantic business run so efficiently. It's how he's on the Wall Street Journal's list of the top 1,000 realtors in America. So Darren is giving you an opportunity to learn from someone who has mentored him. Rene Rodriguez is a best-selling author, a keynote speaker. He's a leadership advisor. And if you text the word Rene, R-E-N-E, to 88,000, do this right now. Text Rene, R-E-N-E, to 88,000. And Darren is going to help connect you through meetrene.com on how you can learn from one of the best and one of Darren's personal mentors. Again, do this. If you're a business owner, if you're life business, if you want to be better, here's a great opportunity to do it. Text the word Rene, R-E-N-E, to 88000.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off new 2022 Jeep Gladiators and $8,000 off new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokees. All new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal. supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana Loyal. Always.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Moon Griffon is back, the voice of Louisiana politics.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, Gavin Guidry is going to join us in studio here in just a quick second. One of the other things from this weekend, congrats to the Lady Tigers. They beat Michigan. They lock in, and they're headed to the Sweet 16. Here's what Kim Mulkey had to say about this program getting back to a Sweet 16.
It's not a championship, but it is definitely accomplishment. We have won one more game than we won last year, and you better believe that that's big for us in rebuilding this program. But yeah, Jock, that's a big deal for this program at this time. I've got coaches in there with tears in their eyes that have never won and been to a Sweet 16. I've got coaches in there that have been to multiple Final Fours and national championships. So you don't ever take things for granted, and you let them enjoy it. You let them soak it all in, and got kids in that locker room that have never been to a Sweet 16.
Kim Mulkey, again, talking about her squad advancing, play Utah. Sweet 16. Excited about the Lady Tigers heading up to Greenville. So Michael Cobble from our news partner there at WBRZ will be making the trip up to Greenville. So we'll catch up with Cobbs this week as well. LSU baseball Tigers ranked number 1 in the country, coming off a series win in College Station this weekend. And excited to have Gavin Guidry in studio with us, a freshman now, a newly minted member of the G team as well, with Gordon McKernan, injury attorneys. Man, it's great to have you. How are you?
I'm great.
Yeah, I'm going to get
great. We got an off day. Got an off day today, so kind of catch up on sleep and
I believe it, man.
Yeah.
What's this transition been like, right? Going from high school now to LSU and in season. How is it similar? How's it different?
I mean, I would say the biggest similarities is just like the expectation. I mean, I came from a high school that we held ourselves to a super high standard, and just the people around the program held each other to a super high standard also. So it's kind of stepping in. And Coach Johnson, all the coaches, all the players, the new guys, the returners, everybody just holds themselves to a super high standard, and kind of the people around them. So I'd say that's the biggest similarity. I think that it's just something that's been normal to me for the past few years. And then I'd say the biggest difference is probably just, I mean, the talent level and the competitiveness and just like nonstop, even midweek games, you're playing against a team who maybe kind of a no-name team or a smaller team, and you get out there and, you'll realize really quick that it's still Division I baseball and they can play. So there's not really an off button. You know, it's a lot of baseball. It's a lot of really good baseball. And in order to perform, you got to keep the switch on all the time.
Yeah, man. I remember we were talking about this in the hall before you came in. I know you did a lot of media. Obviously, you were a very high-profile high school player. I mean, everybody in the state knew who you were, and best player in the state, and you were a draft eligible prospect who many thought might sign. And we talked around, it was probably about a year ago. As you were kind of going through your process. When you think back on it now, and you certainly would have had an opportunity to sign if you wanted to sign a pro deal. Now that you can sit removed from it, you're in it at LSU now. Thinking back, how would you have done anything differently in your pre-draft process and how all that played out?
Not at all.
Yeah,
no. I think that every decision I made was spot on. Honestly, I mean, obviously having money in the pocket would have been kind of nice. 19 years old and kind of having a lot of money just for yourself obviously would be good, but just in this past year, and I haven't even really gotten much playing experience, but just in this past year, the amount of experience that I've gotten and the amount of knowledge I've been able to just absorb around the guys, Dylan Cruz, Jordan Thompson's one of my main guys. He's gone through a lot since he's been here.
Yeah.
And so he's a guy who I'm always around. He's another middle infielder I'm taking ground balls with every day, hitting with every day. So, I mean, just the amount of stuff that I've been able to absorb from not even just the coaches, but the players as well I wouldn't have been able to get at the professional level.
Yeah. That is interesting. It's how there's been a major shift, right? As the level of competition in college baseball has increased and the level of resources in college baseball have increased. You've seen more guys like yourself choose to say, look, I can go play 2 or 3 years in college baseball. I can fly private planes. I can play in full stadiums. I don't have to ride a bus. You know what I mean? And then and I can improve my stock. So when the draft time comes, I can maybe have a quicker ascension through the minor leagues to get where ultimately I want to go. I can't remember if we talked about this. Like when you were and then I want to talk about the team. I want to talk about your relationship with Gordon and everything we're doing. But did you have like a number? You said like having the money would be great. A lot of guys have a number during the process. Did you have that set like where you told teams, hey, if I don't hit this number, don't draft me, I'm not going?
Yeah, I mean, we had a number set, but there was never anyone on the outside that had known what I wanted. It was just me, my family, and my advisor. So there was no one really that knew what I was asking for, just for the purposes of, I mean, you didn't want them to settle. If they saw me at more value than what I was looking for, then you wouldn't want them just settling for your number. So
no, of course it's negotiation, man. You don't want to tip your hand. Did anybody get close to it? I'm just curious, like how close you might have come.
I mean, I set my number pretty high just because I wanted to come to school, and it was kind of one of those things where I set it at a bar above what I really thought I was worth at the time. Almost more like where I saw I valued myself, I set the number even higher just because I knew the amount of information and how much I could get to college and get to school. I trusted Coach Johnson a lot with being able to develop me. So basically I said, if they're going to overpay and they're going to give me more money than what I'm worth, then let's go for it. But I wasn't going to settle for anything less.
LSU freshman Gavin Guidry is in studio with us. He's part of the G team with Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. They've been a great partner of ours. How did that process go with connecting with Gordon on the NIL front?
Well, me and Trey Morgan have the exact same advisor, so that kind of helps out a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I remember last year Trey and Kay Doty were in studio here right whenever NIL was kind of kicking off, and they did the deal with Gordon.
Yeah. So I mean, I think being an in-state kid helps a lot, but I mean the biggest thing is just that the guy that has all the connections through Trey is the same guy that's working with me. So shout out to Scott, by the way. He's a goat.
What up, Scott?
Yeah, he's a goat. I mean, he's just been able to kind of feed off of everything that Trey's gotten to do and kind of try to push me also. So it's gotten me opportunities.
Very cool. Have you got a chance to meet Gordon yet or doing it like the grubbing with G and all this sort of stuff?
No, we haven't gotten to do too much. I signed like less than a month ago.
Yeah, no, it was pretty new. Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to do much.
We got
but I've talked to him a few times. I've met him a few times.
Can you just real quick show the back of your shirt? I don't know
I
if
didn't
you,
even see it.
yeah, I don't even know if you saw it, but they made you a custom G team shirt. Yeah, just turn right there, the camera. So it's G Guidry getting it done with the number 1. It's not bad, man. Like that's one that like you got your name on it, your number on it. They custom made you a shirt, which is really pretty cool, man.
They're good.
Dude, they're on point, man. We've loved our relationship with Gordon, obviously. You mentioned playing for Jay Johnson, and you feel like he'll be able to develop you to get you to where you want to go. Obviously, you were recruited by everybody, so you could have played for anybody. But what, like, whenever you start to think about the things that have differentiated Jay, what are those things? Like, if you were to say specifically, like, how do you know he's the guy that's going to help you get where you want to go? Because a lot of guys, say that, obviously have that confidence in him.
Yeah, I mean, he is very, very good with people, just with relationships, and especially with his players. I've always felt, even before I got here, that he always had my back, and he always was a guy who had a lot of trust in me, and really just supported my career also, like not even just at LSU, but just really supported what I wanted in baseball. So that's the main thing, that I think that everything he's done since I've gotten here, obviously it's to help LSU win. That's his job. He's getting paid to win games. But a lot of the decisions that he's made for me was for me to produce and to perform whenever my number's called. So, I mean, I don't think there's many college coaches that would be in the same category as that. I think there's a lot of more coaches out there, a lot more selfish, and try to take advantage of what they have and players. But I think that he's just tried to put me in the best situations possible since I've gotten here.
So, I mean, you're a two-way guy.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you're an infielder. You're also a pitcher. So there was that question when you got to campus was, what were you going to play? Like, were you going to play short? Were you going to play second, third? Were you going to pitch? So we've seen you do a little bit of all of it so far. So can you elaborate a little bit on that, on like what you're talking about, how he's putting you in the best positions? Like, what's best for you?
We talked before I came here, and the main thing before I even made the decision on draft and college stuff, he had a conversation with us, obviously, because he had to. I mean, he was trying to recruit against the draft, right? That's kind of the way it works, also. Yeah. So, I didn't want to get PO'd. I knew that I had something on the mound and that I could be really good, and I just didn't want to get PO'd. I think that I have a future as an infielder, so I wanted to be able to develop that, whether it was in pro ball or in college. And so he made it known very, very clearly that he felt the same way, and that getting PO'd was not an option. And so then I got here in the summer, and he ended up signing Thatcher, Paul, and Christian. I mean, 3 absolute studs. And then he came to me, made a decision. He was like, "Listen, we have amount of pitching that is just, we don't need any more arms. There's going to be guys sitting the bench that are going to be not getting many innings and be pitching to the big leagues one day. Right. So we're just going to, throughout the fall, you're not going to pitch. You're just going to, work and develop the position player thing. And, if you get a job, then you get a job. And if you're a starter from day one, then that's cool. But if not, maybe we can come back to it and just see what happens." And that's what ended up happening. Gavin Dugas, was the guy. Mainly I was competing with Gavin Dugas and Ben Napolt and Jack Merrifield. And Gavin Dugas won the job at second. And so we kind of circled back to pitching because that was the way that I could help the team win. So we got back with Coach West and started working, and then tried to get my arm in shape to pitch in a couple weeks, and that's what happened. And then, just that's kind of my role now on this team, is to do what I can do on the mound. And then, maybe one day come back to being a shortstop, second base, third base, whatever I got to do.
Yeah, I think that one day is going to come too. We're going to be excited to see that. Sit tight. Gavin Guidry's in studio with us. We're going to knock out a quick break, come back. I want to continue. I want to talk about the rest of this year, what the future holds as well for Gavin. Gavin's with us on behalf of Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Obviously been great partners of ours. So we'll continue our conversation with LSU freshman infielder and pitcher Gavin Guidry next on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Renaissance Hotel in Baton Rouge. Of course, tell you all the time about the Renaissance and the Watermark. The Watermark in downtown and the Renaissance in Southtown, which is on Bluebonnet. You know where it is, right there near the interstate. 2 amazing properties. The Renaissance has so much to offer, from their, of course, gorgeous guest rooms, but also their meeting space. If you want to have a board meeting for a dozen people, or if you have an event, you need to host up to 500 people, the Renaissance, they're in the business of saying yes. One of the really cool things about the Renaissance is every single Renaissance, no matter what market you're in the country, they're all unique to that market. So, for example, you walk into the front door, into the lobby area, you'll notice the artwork behind the front desk. That is a to-scale outline of the Mississippi River and all of its tributaries. So every single Renaissance hotel is specific to that market. So there's so much Louisiana culture. And boy, that extends to Tallulah as well, the restaurant inside the Renaissance Hotel. Check it out on Bluebonnet. It's the Renaissance Hotel in Baton Rouge.
I've got that blue sky. I've got that sunshine.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Otter.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green. This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, Gavin Guidry is in studio with us, LSU freshman two-way player, pitcher, infielder. So you mentioned in the last segment, he's with us, by the way, on behalf of Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys, great partners of ours, and Gavin joined up on the G team this year. You mentioned that kind of the way that you and Jay Johnson had discussed what you were going to do this year. And so Gavin Dugas won the job there at second, and so now you're pitching. How easy, difficult is it to transition back to the mound, but then to do it against college hitters as well?
Yeah, I mean, Coach West is really good, so I mean that played a part in it, right? Trying to be able to get me back on track where I was. But just my body was already in really good shape just because of how much we do at practice anyways. You know, we're making a lot of throws during ground balls. So it didn't take that much. It just took me getting back like the feel for throwing my pitches and spinning the ball. Because like my first outing was really good, right? And my slider was pretty good that outing. But whenever I like look back and watch videos from it, my slider had a bunch of different shapes to it. It wasn't very consistent in the shape that was coming out. So I'm still really trying to get the feel for being able to repeat like the same feeling over and over and being able to get the same shape out of it just for consistency to do what I want. So I mean, I'm not all the way back, but I mean, I would also say just stepping in there and trying to do my job, whatever I got to do. So, I mean, that's the biggest part.
Do you think? So we're all listen. You don't have to say this, but I'll say it. We're all under the assumption that Jordan Thompson, after this year, is going to get drafted. He'll sign, and that you're going to be the shortstop next year. Like that's my expectation. I think most people that follow this program, that's their expectation. Would that be an ideal scenario for you to move back, like to play short next year, if that plays out the way that I just described?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's the goal. You know, I feel like I'm a shortstop, but I mean, we have a lot of dudes on this team, obviously.
Yeah,
you
for
know?
sure.
So it's not going to be like I'm just, Jordan's gone, I'm the shortstop. You know, we have guys coming in. I'm sure, like I'm still have to get better. I have to, keep developing, and keep learning. You know, for at this time next year to hopefully I'll be able to start doing what Jordan's doing, hitting 300, making every single ball that's hit to him is an out. He's an absolute vacuum over there. So, I mean, just keep learning from him to where whenever it's my turn and it's my turn to try to win the job, I'll be able to just kind of slide into position, yeah.
For a guy, and that's very well said. And I know you're not assuming anything. It's just,
yeah.
You know, we talk. You know, like we have the luxury of just being able to talk about stuff, right? But I understand you have to put in the work and do it. You know, I'm curious also for a guy, and I love asking this question to guys like you who – like every team, you've probably been the best player in every team you've ever been on. Is that fair to say? I mean, okay, I'll say.
I mean,
you came from Barb. We know Barb's a great program. They churn out awesome players. Like you're the best player in the state. Like that's objective. Like you won the award for the best player in the state of Louisiana, right? So we know you're a great player. Is it challenging at all to come to LSU and look around and go, oh, there's Dylan Cruz.
Yeah.
There's Paul Skenes. There's Jordan Thompson. Like, it's the first time in your life where you probably had to be like, all right, I got to, you know, I'm not the best guy on this team right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if challenging is the word, but I mean, it's definitely a lot different atmosphere, you know, coming in. And it's not like you're just going to show up to the field and just like high school baseball, you can show up to the field and have a bad day and look at the scoreboard, look at the stat sheet, and you went 2 for 4. And you're like, okay, I mean, that was a bad day, but I went 2 for 4.
Right.
Like, it's not like that anymore. But,
right.
I mean, I feel like the upperclassmen, the guys that have been here, all the teammates, they're so good. I mean, we came in as freshmen, and, you know, we had a really good freshman class, obviously, but every single day, all the upperclassmen reminded us how good we are and, you know, just do what you can do, you know, play free. You know, y'all are really good. Like, y'all are freshmen, but y'all are going to help us win games. And so when you have guys that have been here, and that's the guys that, you know, when you get here as a freshman, you want to win the guys over, right? You want to have the guys trust you. And I feel like they made it really, really known early that they trusted us right off the bat. So that would make it really easy.
Yeah.
To be able to just get in here and play baseball.
You talked a little bit ago about Jordan Thompson.
Yeah.
What about Dylan? Like seeing a guy, I mean, Dylan and Paul Skenes, there's a really good chance, Gavin, those two guys are going to go 1-2 in the draft.
Yeah.
Chase Dolander from Tennessee is going to be in that mix, and I think there's a kid who's like a high school kid in Pennsylvania or something like that who might be in the mix. But I think those two guys very well could go 1-2.
Yeah.
What's it like watching those guys play and prepare and work every day?
Yeah. I mean, those two dudes are on a completely different level. And, you know, they're our teammates, but even when we're in the dugout and we're watching Dylan hit, and he'll do the most simple thing ever, and you can just see everyone in the dugout just kind of like shake their head and just like, he's just so much different. Like, it's just, he makes the game look so easy, and the game is not as easy as he makes it look. But, I mean, when you're around him every day, it's obvious to see why he makes the game look so easy. You know, he prepares and he trusts himself at like an elite level. So, I mean, when you just watch him prepare for the games and hold himself to a routine and sticking to it and trusting it the way that he does, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Same thing with Paul.
Yeah, I was going to ask. We were talking a little in the break about Paul Skenes, but for and the thing that I think a lot of us that's amazing is you see guys dot 100, 101, but they don't sit 98, 99. You know what I mean? He's sitting 98, 99.
Yeah.
And so the question is like, how does that hold up? So I mean, you get to see him work every day. What's it like watching Paul Skenes go to work every day?
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't accidentally throw 100 miles an hour every outing.
Right.
Let's make that known. It's not just by accident. So, I mean, he wakes up every single day. You know, I don't know when he wakes up or whatever, but I'm sure he wakes up every day, eats a good breakfast, you know. And then I know he gets to the field every morning. He's there for hours and hours, and he may only just be throwing 30 or 40 balls that day, maybe a light day, but he's still there for hours just managing his body, stretching, you know, maybe getting a lift in, doing whatever he's got to do mobility-wise, you know. And it may be a short day throwing, but it's going to be a long day for him just to take care of his body to be able to maintain where he's at right now. So, I mean, the 100-mile-an-hour fastballs aren't going to end anytime soon. So
it's a good thing to hear.
Yeah.
We got a couple more minutes here with Gavin Guidry, who's in studio with us, LSU freshman. Of course, with us on behalf of Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. We're part of the G team, as is he, and we're thrilled to have the opportunity to spend a few minutes chatting right now. This team's got lofty expectations. You're ranked number 1 in the country. I know. Look, you obviously go around the facility, and Omaha is everywhere, right? I mean, that is the expectation there. How much do you all talk about that? Like, do you talk Omaha College World Series?
I mean, honestly, not really. You know, we had a goal from the beginning. You know, it was kind of more understood than even talked about too. That, you know, just we had the chance to do something really special. You know, with the amount of talent that we have, and it was just a really good team. Like from the top to bottom, everything, defense, offense, pitching, everything was really good. But I mean, I think the thing that may separate this team more than any other team is how well we just stay in the moment on, you know, I think we play Central Arkansas tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
See, we aren't even worried about who we're playing. I think that's who we play, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Like, it's just, we're not looking ahead to anything else other than Central Arkansas, and we're going to show up tomorrow and prepare like we're playing the championship in Omaha, and it's, you know, last game, win it or you're done. You know, that's how the game is for us, and it's going to be the same exact thing we're doing tomorrow that we're going to be doing in the middle of June. So, I mean, we don't talk about Omaha a whole lot. We just really just show up and do what we got to do. There's days, I even talked to Jordan about this. There was one day we were sitting in the locker room, and we forgot that it was a Friday and it was game day. Just because we do the same thing every single day. And we forgot, we literally were sitting there talking. We just got done hitting in the cages before, and it was just such a normal thing for us that we forgot in 5 hours we're about to play a game.
So when
this actually happened?
When did the realization come? What game was it? Do you remember?
No, it was one of the weekends. I don't remember when it was, and we just kind of laughed about it.
Like,
we just kind of laughed about it.
Like, it's
it was
Friday.
Crazy, yeah.
Oh, we're gonna play tonight.
Yeah, we're like, but it was just because we do the same thing. You know, we get there, whether we're practicing, we get there and we go through our routine, and we do what we do every single day. So it's just second nature, whether it's going to be in Omaha, Nebraska, or Baton Rouge, or College Station, or wherever we're at. It's just a routine that we do every day. We just go through it.
LSU freshman Gavin Guidry. Before you go, I talked to Jay Johnson about recruiting Paul Skenes, about recruiting Tommy White. He had some really funny recruiting stories. You have any good Jay Johnson recruiting stories?
I wouldn't. No, I don't really have many. Because, I mean, I was committed to LSU. I'm a Louisiana kid. Whenever he got hired, you know, I was committed to LSU. So he'd had to do a lot of things to lose me.
And
he'd have had to mess up really bad when I was in high school for me to decommit. So, and I think he knew that right away.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously he still he still wanted and made it a point to have a relationship with me, but I mean, he didn't really have to sell anything to me.
Hey, man, I know I speak for a lot of LSU fans. We're excited to see you play. For however long your LSU career lasts, I'm sure you're going to have a lot of great moments, man. This is fun to chat, so thanks for making the time to come in here.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate it.
That is Gavin Guidry, LSU, Central Arkansas tomorrow. You do have a game
Central
tomorrow,
Arkansas,
You have a game tomorrow,
yeah.
and then you're going to play a 3-game series this weekend against Arkansas, which that one should be a lot of fun as well with the Hogs coming to town. Thanks for coming in, man. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
It's after further review. We'll wrap up with Otter Locks next.
AFR.
And appropriately, I get to remind you now about Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Tell you every day, get Gordon and get it done. You can always go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. And follow Gordon on all the social media platforms. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. So much great content. Not only legal advice, like just free legal advice that Gordon puts out, but so much of the stuff that he's doing with members of the G team. Like Gavin, he has a series called Grubbin' with G that they do where Gordon goes to a restaurant, sits down with some of his NIL athletes, and they just have a conversation. They edit it down, and you can kind of get some real-life info and insight in some of your favorite athletes. It's Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Gordon's been helping injured people in Louisiana for more than 30 years. So if you've been injured, it's not your fault. You need representation. Do what injured people in our state have done for 30 years. Get Gordon and get it done. Go to the website, getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com for Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Get Gordon and get it done.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP on select new 2022 Ford F-150 trucks. $10,000 off plus 0% financing. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Otter.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the.
after further review with Matt Moscona. Presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Monday edition of AFR presented by Relief Windows. We're glad to have you aboard with us. And, of course, we do it every day as we wrap up. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and often incomprehensible, the Ott father himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
Doing good. Sitting in the Shaquille O'Neal Lodge at the Cook Hotel and Conference Center at LSU.
All right. Not bad digs for the night, huh? I'll tell you.
Oh, no. Nothing but the best for the handyman.
I have no doubt. How did you do this weekend, Otter?
Man, kind of spun my wheels a little bit. You know, my big first half under ankle that went a total of 18 and 14. If you just played the unders, period. They were 33 and 11 until a 2 and 6 day yesterday, but 35 and 11 from Tuesday through Sunday. Including the first four. Unbelievable. So, a bloody public Saturday. Some outlets reporting their biggest day ever.
Oh wow.
Profit-wise, Super Bowls included.
Wow,
the biggest profit day ever. Yes, so that's how it was. It kind of continued that way on Sunday as well. Not as extreme, but you had two public teams late, in UCLA and Texas who they're covering, and then both within 5 minutes decide to foul a 3-point shooter. One was a 4-point play. One team hit all three just to cover the number. And so you had even Auburn was the one underdog that day, was a public dog with Sasser being hurt and also playing basically a quasi-road game in Birmingham. So, tough one. Crazy. Of all the upsets, Matt, no 12-5. Only the sixth time in the history of the tournament that a 12 did not beat a 5. So we saw some crazy stuff in the first weekend of the tournament. Light card tonight.
Okay.
You've got extremely limited. So I had to test my creativity tonight. So here we go.
Okay, let's see.
Here we go.
All right.
Money line parlay. The Philadelphia 76ers percentage points now ahead of the Boston Celtics for the division. I think they're going to continue that. They're all healthy tonight. Just PJ Tucker is out against the Bulls at home. Line is a little bit high at 8.5. So we take the money line there. So
Okay.
Sixers money line. Knicks fully healthy. Jalen Brunson is back. R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle. They're all fully healthy with their starting five. Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns out for the T-Wolves. Don't want to lay 8.5, so we'll put that one. So that's still you're laying a little bit of a price, like minus 150. What pushes it to a plus money is semifinals from Miami, Japan, over Mexico.
We're going World Baseball Classic?
Yes, indeed.
I got to find this on my app. I don't even know where it is.
Oh, it's
oh, there it is. There it is. All right, who we got? We're going with Japan?
Yes. So Japan, Knicks, Sixers, moneyline parlay should be playing about a 125, 130.
I love it. I'm looking at plus 126.
There you go.
You're going to make me watch the World Baseball Classic tonight.
That's my job.
All right. Game time with Jimmy Ott follows us. You're there live. Cook, what you got coming up on the show, Otter?
Oh, man, it's all breaking down the numbers and the matchups and what went wrong. What was the hard? Did you stay up late and see that beat last night?
No. Hunt told me with Gonzaga.
Oh. So, the second game of the day, first game of the day was Virginia Furman. You had the turnover, the three, the Furman stealing it from them. The second game of the day was San Diego State getting fouled with 0.7 seconds to go. And then in the first weekend ended with a foul called with 0.7 seconds to go.
So good.
TCU just enough time to advance the ball and knock down the three at the buzzer. Of course, it took CBS about 5 minutes to show the final score. You know, I mean, go to sleep at midnight. Avery Johnson and that St. Aug Southern voice said, 84-81 the final. So we got it all.
I am looking forward to SVP Bad Beats tonight. Seeing that feature. That will be fun. All right, Game Time with Jimmy Ott follows us in Baton Rouge. If you're not in Baton Rouge, online at 1045ESPN.com or the Game Time with Jimmy Ott Facebook page. Thank you, Otter.
We'll be sweating the World Baseball Challenge, so you got it.
Okay, we'll see. That's Jimmy Ott. This is after further review. Ott is a Williamson Eye Center patient, as am I. Almost 5 years ago now, Dr. Blake Williamson performed my LASIK, and I could not be more thrilled. Heard for years and years and years people say, best money you'll ever spend. Man, are they right. LASIK was transforming. To be able to wake up in the morning and just see. Look, you hear about it with athletes all the time. Quarterbacks or baseball players hitting the ball, whatever it may be. Devin White. Devin White told us a story about how he couldn't see the signals on the sideline when they're signaling in the defense. He had to get LASIK so he could see the sideline. But for whatever it is, if it's seeing traffic signs or seeing the crawl on a TV or just being able to wake up and see and not have to squint, the Williamson Eye Center can help. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. That's Williamson, EYE.com. Muse. Are you a World Baseball Classic watcher?
I'm not.
Mr. Terrio may have a word with you on Friday.
Okay.
Boy, did he yell at me on Friday for not being a World Baseball Classic fan. You going to watch tonight?
No.
Are you going to watch the final?
Yes. No, I'm not. I'm going to be at the box, but, it sounded good.
Muse, Paulie, thanks. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, let me remind you about Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. 29 offices across 11 different states, from sea to shining sea. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Go to the website at Michelli.com. That's Michelli.com. They are always looking for technicians. You can go to the careers page on the website. Michelli is always growing, as they have been for 76 years now. And they need technicians. So if you are looking for a new career or to advance your career, Michelli can help. Michelli.com. That's Michelli.com. Remember, they have a track system which offers calibration certificates online for free, 24/7, 365. It's efficiency. It's about getting you to work quicker. It's convenient. You don't need to call and wait and chat. It's all right there. The traceability is right there, down to the technician that performed the work. Helps with audits and things like that. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement, online at Michelli.com. At Michelli, we show the world what measurement can do. Learn more at Michelli.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.